What's up, everybody? Want to make sure my mic's working. Hello, hello. Hey! Alright, I think we're working on mics. How about you, Robert?
I am good to go, buddy.
Yeah, man. Alright. So thanks so much, Drumjod and Tom, for being here. We're going to celebrate 3 years of Final Anniversary. You know what I mean? The Final Anniversary 3. Now, I got my good friend Robert Molt here, and Patreon supporter, and actually since the very beginning of Final Fan TV. So I couldn't think of, there's a couple other people that I can think of too that would be a perfect fit for being here. But it's great to have you on here, Robert. I really appreciate your support throughout all 3 years of Final Fan TV and going into the 4th year here. So, first of all, just go ahead and give you a little quick introduction, man, and then I'm going to jump right into it.
My introduction is I'm Dr. Robert Moltz. I love FF. I have had the pleasure of being able to listen to the podcast since day one because I just could not get enough of Final Fantasy podcasts. I have been listening to many of them for many years, but the heavens parted, light came down, and I met the warrior of hype, who had all of the nuance of positivity, humility, at just the right time in terms of FF7 Remake. I heard his journey and said, oh my god, I'm with you.
Dude.
Every step of the way of this.
Oh.
The good, the bad, and I want more, and ever since then I was hooked. If anything to offer, it's that show is awesome, it attracts people, and it's going to keep growing because you are the warrior of hype.
Hey, man, that's what I'm talking about. I love it, dude. And now you have become the hype man for the warrior of hype.
Yes, I'm hype squared.
Hype squared.
Sorry.
Block Sheep, thanks so much for being here as well. So basically, the Final Anniversary, I came up with the name Final Anniversary, obviously because of Final Fantasy, but just like, the rumors that were shot down by Sakaguchi, but I still believe them. The Final Fantasy was supposed to be the Final Fantasy. It was, this could be the final game for Square Enix or Squaresoft back in the day, and it ended up keep going and going today. We still have Final Fantasy, and it's because of the fans out there. So I kind of wanted to adopt that same mentality here. This is Final Fan TV's Final Anniversary, and we've made it to Final Anniversary 3, right? So the first year it was just Final Anniversary, and that could have been the final anniversary of Final Fan TV. We could have just called it quits right there, you know what I mean? And we're going to get into the first year of Final Fantasy. As you can see on the right side of the screen, we're going to take a retrospective journey back through the Final Fan TV journey. And yeah, it's gonna be kind of rough for me because I don't like going back to these old videos. They are I'm like ugh yeah. So this is gonna be a lot of fun. Yeah,
that's okay because you know what? Much as I grew up playing FF1 on the NES, I can acknowledge it's a little rough going back. All of the curious little bugs that you're like, wow, that was an interesting design choice. That you go into the ice cave and everything one hit kills you and whatnot. But you know what? You make memories from the journey, and that's what this is all about.
Yeah, a few of these video content videos here are going to be our Final Fantasy 2. You know what I mean? No disrespect to 2 either, though, because I actually kind of like 2. You know what I mean? I actually kind of like it. But yeah, this is we're going to jump into that in just a second. But yeah, that's basically the gist of it. Final Anniversary 3. I just want to say a big thank you to everybody who's watching right now, because you didn't click into this video because of some sort of, big draw in of a Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, tagline or anything like that. It's literally just celebrating 3 years of Final Fan TV, and you're here. So that means a lot to me, because you're here to just celebrate Final Fan TV. And man, that really means a lot. So thank you so much for clicking into the video. Thank you to everybody who comments on our videos. I really appreciate it. I really love reading through every single comment, even though I don't have the time to respond to each one of them. I love reading through them, and everyone who likes it, and everyone who supports on Ko-fi and Patreon.com. Our ultimate weapon, Badly Brave, and you know, we even have Robert Molt here, who is a Patreon supporter. So thank you so much for that, Robert. So yeah, let's take a look. We're gonna take a look back first, and then we'll go look ahead. All right, I got year 4 goals that I kind of want to make an announcement of, just like I did back in the same time last year. I made an announcement for year 2 or for year 3 goals, and Robert, we achieved them. All right. I set a goal and I got it, baby. So I had set the goal for Final Fantasy XVI review code, which I did receive, but there was a little caveat to that I want to get to in a second. And I set a goal to attend E3 to report live from E3 about Final Fantasy XVI. Of course, E3 didn't happen, but I still attended the Final Fantasy XVI pre-launch event. And, I mean, I consider that goal achieved, all right? So I got year 4 goals.
If it was at all possible, you did it.
Yes, right, baby. That's right. So year 4 goals are going to be coming up, but I want to take a look back first. Let's have some fun. Let's have some fun with this. Now, I am going to be doing, yes, so Tom, it's when do you plan on doing the Q&A? Yeah, I think I'll probably throw in the Q&A in between taking a look back through these videos, and then we'll do the Q&A part, and then I'll do my year 4 goals, and then we'll close out the show. Perhaps we'll close out the show with a little Mad Libs. You know what I mean? A little Final Fantasy Mad Libs. Maybe we'll do that if we have time. But yeah, so this is going to be interesting. All right, so the first thing I want to do is I kind of want to take a look back at where it all began, and I do have I gotta have a message, and I meant to send this to my email so that way I could have the asset to pull it up so you can see it. But since I didn't have time to do that, I took a screenshot of it. And Robert, you ready for how the name Final Fan TV came to be?
I am ready to learn the lore. There's FF lore, but now this is next level. It's meta. It's knowing the lore of FFTV.
You're about to get the lore of FFTV.
We're gonna have to start a wiki page about you at this point.
Hey, we're friends with the Final Fantasy wiki. All right, so it started off me reaching out to Osby. If you remember Osby, he's going to be in this first final podcast here. I reached out to Osby. Well, I guess I got to start off with reaching out to the guys back in October in 2020. I reached out to each guy. I had Osby, Vinny, and Reed back in the day, and I reached out to him. I said, "Hey, look, man, I really need to talk about Final Fantasy. I'm thinking about starting a podcast. What do you guys think? You want to come in there and talk about Final Fantasy with me?" And that's how that all began, right? Then Osby, I said, "Man, do you mind if I bounce some ideas off you? I just need somebody to bounce ideas off of, right? You know." So I said, I'm looking for a name for this show. I said I want to do Final Fantasy Podcast. I literally searched for Final Fantasy Podcast when I was typing in looking for other Final Fantasy podcasts, and I'm like, well, there you go. That's your algorithm and your advantage, right? Right? You just want to look for a Final Fantasy podcast. So I just went Final Fantasy Podcast. Surprisingly, there were no, like, the URLs weren't taken, the Twitter handles, all the social media. I was like, dude, this could work, right? But I was like,
it was kismet, man. It was kismet.
Yeah. It's so like when it came to so when you look for Final Fantasy Podcast, if you name yourself, if we named ourselves Final Podcast or Final Fantasy Podcast, that limits us to being a podcast. And I wanted to be able to grow. So he said, Osby was like, what about Phoenix Down? And I was like, I like that. I like that name. He said it could be a placeholder, just a thought. he said the Phoenix Down presents Final Fantasy podcast, and I was like, all right, I like that. Phoenix Down Radio is already taken. Hold on, my mic went out there. I said the Phoenix Down Radio is already taken, right? So that doesn't work. Then I was like, Final Podcast. I like that. I said, but once again, though, it limits us to what we can be. And then, let's see. Another, okay. I said, all right, man, we need to find constants in the entire Final Fantasy series in order for this name to be cohesive, in order for it to work. And Osby wrote back, how about square crystals? And I was like,
okay.
I said, you know what? Square crystals actually kind of cool. We were close to being called Square Crystals. The name for this show, this channel, was close to being called Square Crystals. And I sent a GIF of going, like, maybe SquareCrystals.com was available. So we were going for that one, and then I swear to God, this is it. This is how it all came to be. I don't know if you can see that. Is it focused?
I see Final Fan TV, and then what does it say below that?
Just Final Fan TV, LMAO.
And like that, something great was born. From humble beginnings, through the empire.
Yeah. And I was like, Final Fan TV, LMAO. And I was like, a whole day went by, and I said, actually, that's the one. I said, I like that. Final Fan TV presents Final Podcast. So yeah, that's how it came to be. I love it. I was just like, Final Fan TV, because if you say it fast enough, it sounds like Final Fantasy. Final Fan TV. Oh, I think you disappeared there, Rob.
I think my audio still works okay, I hope.
Yep, you sure. Yeah, your audio is working. All right, so that is
there we go.
That is the origins of the name Final Fan TV. All right, you're coming back in. There.
Sorry about that.
That's okay, no worries. Yeah, so that's the origin of that. So let's take a look at the chat real quick. Okay, yes, yeah, Tom, I got your question lined up, baby. I got it lined up. I kind of had to look at them for a second, and then so that way I'm not like stuck on the spot. Whenever I'm asked a question on the spot, I'm just like, there's so many things that I know I should say. Thank God Final Fan TV is so much better. Square Crystal sounds
and it's
like
a testimony to the community support that, like, just the sheer number of questions that have been put in the chat all day just is a reflection for we are greatness because we are emergent from below. We whoops, that is my stupid phone keeps trying to take over the video, so the only solution is to silence my phone permanently. This little Astos here is going to die.
Hello, Astos.
Yeah, well, he's turned off, so he can't keep taking that over, so I apologize.
It's okay.
And for those of you who haven't played FF1, that was freaking hilarious. Just trust me. Or Stranger Paradise, I guess.
Stranger Paradise, yeah. I like Stranger Paradise. That was a good one, but yeah. Yeah, so that was that. Let's take a look at our first video, man. All right. This is going to suck. All right.
And 9 concussions are fun. So if I repeat myself...
So I like to start off with this part right here, because when it comes to getting John Eric Bentley to be our very first video, he did a cameo for us. So just to have him at the very beginning of it, doing a personalized message was really cool. I really, really liked that. All I did was I reached out to John through Cameo, and I asked him, if he wouldn't mind doing a cameo. And then I said, look, I know, we're not supposed to do this. So I was like, but man, I would love to have you on the show. I would love to talk to you. I really would love to be able to speak with you. Sent him an email and said all of that. So, yeah, here we go.
We're live.
That's how it started. We're live. All right.
Hey, Daniel. I'm trying to find out more about FFTV, the final podcast that's all about Final Fantasy and everything related to it. If it's all about Final Fantasy and everything related to it, when are you gonna have me on, man? I'm just saying. Avalanche might need you, but I'm wondering if FFTV needs buried. Much love, man.
What is going on, everyone? This is FFTV, and you're watching currently on FFTV Final Podcast. Now, Final Podcast is the Final Fantasy podcast. Basically, you heard from Barrett, you heard him from the man himself, and all things related to it. So each Final Fantasy, each Final Podcast will be numbered as in the Roman numerals, just like our beloved franchise. So this is Final Fantasy. I'm so sorry. This is our first time. This is Final Podcast I. Next week will be I. You get it?
Oh, God.
All right.
So
It's the theme. From humble beginnings, the greatness emerged. Okay, like that's the theme. He just reached out to freaking Barrett, and Barrett said, "Man, let's do this. Let's scale higher." Same thing here. That's the running theme.
Yeah, it's so great. And we're gonna get into that also in just because like literally Barrett is the 5th video on this channel. John Eric Bentley is the 5th video on this channel, which just blows my mind. But yeah, this opening here, where I was like, I'm sorry. I had to, I guess, just being, it was the first time me and these guys were like in a voice channel or a video channel, just kind of talking, pressing record for the first time, no rehearsing or anything like that, just to, hey, let's freaking go, here we go. Thankfully it wasn't live, but even still it didn't really matter because I didn't edit it. But yeah, it was just kind of like, these videos are kind of hard to watch for me because I started off like I was very much in the mindset of being scripted because I needed to be able to read what I wanted to say, especially when it's like when it was crowded and like these people, like I have these guys in here that I've really, like Osby, I only talked to him just to share the hype of Remake, like that, for leading up to it. And then like I've been close friends with Reed and Vinny, but we didn't really hang out type thing. So we're just all kind of like, all right, press record, and now I got a host, and I was all messed up. I still do this too, where I mess up. But in these videos, and hopefully I've gotten better at this, and I probably shouldn't point this out because now it'll maybe everybody will start to notice. But I said a lot, and I said, and then and I shouldn't say it too much because I'll get right back into the habit. But so it was just kind of one of those.
Okay, if you start doing it, I'll do it twice as much as you, and then I'll be known as that guy. So we're good. We're good, buddy.
Thanks,
good.
Man. I love it. Robert is Robert is the hype man to the warrior of hype. You know what I mean? The hype man for the warrior of hype. I love that. Tom in the chat is like he's loving these puns. Warrior of hype, and then streamers of paradise.
Ooh, I like it.
Final Fantasy Origin streamers of paradise. That is actually pretty cool. I like that too. I love the puns too, Tom. I love the puns too. So this was just us kind of going through. We said our favorite Final Fantasy. I think this is the one that you were referring to, Robert, when we were in the green room, we'll call it, before the show started. And you were talking about how you heard my story about Final Fantasy. So that was also another reason why I was kind of nervous right when I pressed play, because I knew I wanted to share that story. I wanted to get it out there of why this series means so much to me and why I'm starting a podcast, why I'm starting Final Fantasy related content. So that was really important for me to get that out there. So when I press record, I knew that was coming. And it was just in the back of my mind, like, you gotta go to this place that you don't really like to go to, and then you gotta get it out there. So yeah, that was that video there, and then we'll go back here. We're gonna go to the oldest here. So super cool, man. Like, so we reached out, we got John Eric Bentley before we even. All right, I reached out to John Bentley, Robert, and I had no videos on this channel. So I asked him if he wanted to be on the on the podcast.
That's how charismatic you are, apparently. That he was like, "There's no objective evidence that this show is worth anything, but there's something about this guy that I just can't say no to."
He did write back. He said, "How about you post one video so I can see what it's all about?" I was like, you know what? That's actually a very valid point. We'll upload our first podcast soon, and then let me know what you think if you want to be on it still. So I guess John Eric Bentley thought it was good enough to be on the show, so that's good. And we had MJ Gallagher on the second episode, which is super cool, man. Like, so I had just picked up his Norse mythology book, The Norse Myths That Inspired Final Fantasy VII, and I really wanted to start Final Fantasy TV in order to talk to people. Like, that was my whole entire reason why of starting Final Fantasy TV. I just wanted to talk about Final Fantasy with people who shared that same passion for the series. And I was thinking about what the next episode could be while the book was in my hand, and I went, oh man, I wonder if I can reach out to this author and speak to this author. Obviously is very passionate about Final Fantasy. So I wonder if this author would like to be on the show. So reached out to MJ Gallagher, and man, major props to him for agreeing to be on Final Fantasy TV when I only had one video up. And I guess he also said that he resonated with my story. So I'm happy I shared the story in that sense. But he's also the guy.
He's picky.
Huh?
Like, he doesn't go, and I know he's picky. He doesn't just go on anything, because I know other podcasts that are FF based that tried to for him, but he wants that positivity and that that aspect of things. So it's a testimony to what this show's about.
Man, I don't know if that is the case, but if it is, I do really appreciate that. Mo, like that, because that was really cool. Because we've been friends ever since. I like to say we're friends. We keep in touch. So that's really cool that MJ Gallagher was on the show, second episode in. And then, man, this is where we're just kind of like trying to find, what is this show? What are we doing? Right? What are we doing? We got, the next one was basically covering the news. It was Remake Definitive Edition. We're talking about, this is not even news. This is just speculation. I'm like, this is a speculation and wish list type thing. What do we want in a Final Fantasy VII Remake Definitive Edition? Because we knew it was coming type thing. And it was just kind of like, just talking for a while. Nothing is happening. 293 views. This is over the course of 2 years. I mean, these things were not getting a lot of views, which is cool because it's the first couple videos. Then we did a tier maker. These 2 episodes were actually the same conversation. I just split them into 2 videos because I was like, nobody's going to click into a 3-hour video. But now I've realized that people don't really... They'll click into the 3-hour video. I was like, it needs to be under an hour or under 2 hours at least. So I split them up into 2, and I did the same thing with John Eric Bentley's, which I want to kind of click into. Now, I am a little bit disappointed with this one, and it's weird to say that, right? With John Eric Bentley, I feel like it wasn't done justice because still very new at this, and I didn't know how to level the audio. So he comes in kind of quiet. My microphone was turned up to freaking max, bro. Like, I'm like laughing real. It blows out the speaker. So this is a tough one, but we got this sweet intro that I don't use anymore. But that's shout out to Osby for making that.
All right, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to
It's not so bad so far.
FFTV. This is Final Podcast 4, and for the next hour or so, will be one of the most surreal experiences we've ever had. Please excuse me, but I am simultaneously overhyped and starstruck at the same time. We have
so
a very special guest party member. At 7 years old, I'm gonna start it off with a story. At 7 years old, I asked my brother Sean. I said, "What is the name of the man with the gun arm?" He paused for a minute as if he had to think. He said, that's Badaz. And I said, okay, well, Sean and Badaz became my favorite characters of any video game of all time. Of course, later, I learned that their real names were Cloud and Barrett, and that you have the ability to change the name of the characters. But even then, I understood his reasoning for the name Badaz. Badaz. Bad as. I got it. It took me a few years, but I got it. So allow me to introduce the voice of the most badass video game character of all time with a heart of gold. The voice of Barrett Wallace. He is known for his incredible performance as Barrett Wallace in the remake. It is John Eric Bentley.
Hey, what's happening, everybody? That's hilarious.
He comes in a little quiet.
That's really cool, man. That was your brother who wrote that in there?
Yeah, his name was
see,
Badass.
I'm loud and everybody else
He didn't
is
want to tell
quiet.
him 7-year-old kid. He was like,
Okay, it's just growing
Badass.
pains. It's growing
Yeah.
pains.
Hanging from his mom.
Everyone's gotta have an awkward
Hey,
puberty.
Can you go and play badass?
You gotta play badass.
Mom be like, what did you teach him?
This is a great one. So what I think I might do actually is I think I might actually go through this and take it into Audacity. I know how to do this now. Take it into Audacity, level out the audio so that way my voice comes down, his voice comes up, and then that way I can remaster this podcast and repost it. I think I might do that because I really think this is a cool podcast that I think everybody should listen to, and it's only gotten a couple, I think it's like, what is it, at 393 views? Oldest. It's 766. All right, so like, I think these are some great podcasts. I will take them, combine them into one, remaster it, and re-upload. So if you guys want to listen to this and watch it again, don't check out these videos. Wait for me to re-upload and remaster. So this is a really fun one because then we ended up doing a Mad Libs with Barrett, or with John, but as the voice of Barrett. Do you remember that, Rob?
Yes, I do. I, for what it's worth, I don't know how or why, but I listened to these as podcasts back in the day, and for what it's worth, I didn't notice anything. Maybe I was just too starstruck, like, oh my gosh, these guys are so cool. They have freaking Barrett! But
yeah, I mean, I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, oh my god, I got freaking Barrett on this show. This is insane to me. So yeah, let me see what else we can do. I want to talk about everything here. Make sure I got some notes. I don't want to miss anything here. So yeah, speaking to John Eric Bentley was really cool. And you know what, that speaking with John Eric Bentley actually opened up so much for us. And I gotta give a heartfelt thank you to John Bentley. Like, he probably won't watch this one, but like, just a thank you, man. Because you didn't have to be on Final Fan TV with only 3-4 videos, or even no videos, and then be like, hey, let me see a video real quick. And then it was on the show. And then having John on the show actually opened up so many avenues for me to go to other voice actors, to other content creators, and be like, hey, we just spoke with John Eric Bentley, voice of Barrett Wallace in Final Fantasy VII Remake. Would you like to be on the show? You know? And that opened up for Vic Chow to come on, voice of Sung. You know, because I was like, hey, John Bentley had a great time, and he did. John said, hey, if you need any like kind of, because he had such a great time on the show that he was like, hey, if you need any kind of like, what do you call it, recommendations or something like that. Like if somebody wants the recommendation, they can contact me. I will give them the sign of approval, you know, the seal of approval. I really enjoyed my time on the show. He had a great time, and that went a long way for him to be kind of like spreading the word. So that was really cool. So big shout out to John Bentley. I reached out to Soldier First Class, who was making content at the time about Final Fantasy all the time, and now he's back doing a podcast. So if you ever want to check it out, it's called The Gaming Effect. But yeah, Soldier First Class was on our show, which was really cool. And then Night Sky Prince on the show, and we talked about Final Fantasy XVI. Believe it or not, when Final Fan TV was the inception of Final Fan TV, was when Final Fantasy XVI was announced. That's pretty crazy that it was like 2 years ago, and then Final Fantasy XVI. I think this is not right, but it was 3 years ago, and Final Fantasy XVI was announced, and I've been covering Final Fantasy XVI all the way up from announcement all the way up to release date. I think that was super cool. So Final Fantasy 16 will be very special to Final Fantasy TV. But yeah, man, do you have any questions so far, Rob, like about like this part of the journey here?
So you tell me, did you have doubt at any point? Did you feel like, hey, I'm going to do this and we'll see if it actually hangs around? Or did you have the conviction right from the get-go? Like, what were you thinking, like, about just the whole process?
I think at this point in time, I was reaching. So, like, I would just, you know, like when you're reaching for something that's out of reach, sky's the limit type thing, I would be just kind of reaching into the clouds. Look, you can't even see my hand, right? It's a perfect, like, metaphor I'm using right now. Reaching in there, you can't see what's up there. But I'm reaching up there, I'm reaching out to John. I'm reaching out to Vic Chow. You know what I mean? A Night Sky Prince is up there, Soldier First Class. I'm just reaching. MJ Gallagher grabs my hand. And I'm like, got an MJ Gallagher. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, this is kind of cool. Let me reach up there and see what else I can get. I'm getting it. I'm bringing them in. You know what I mean, Rob? I'm bringing them in. And I think that was super cool because when I started this, I just want to talk about Final Fantasy. So, like, I didn't really have my mind set on like, oh, we need to grow, we need to get big real quick. We need to go. I'm not bringing these guys on, or these talented people on just because I want to use them for growth. That was not ever my intention. It still isn't my intention. I like bringing them on because I love meeting people. I love meeting people who love Final Fantasy. So I was taking the personal achievements here, and this is something I struggled with, Rob. So this is a good question. I did struggle with this later on, but at this point, I'm just taking the achievements. You know, I'm like taking that in stride. Like, oh, this is so freaking cool. Like, even if we stop doing the podcast tomorrow, we just spoke to John Eric Bentley, the voice of Barrett Wallace. Like,
yes,
like I was like, I think we're good.
How many people can say that?
Yeah, it's like even if it's done, I'm good, you know. And this kind of like is a trend that will keep on going. But so as far as doubt, I mean, I was just kind of figuring out what to do. Like I'm like, okay, well, when we're not interviewing people, what are we doing? What are we talking about? Are we doing tier makers? Are we doing just like random speculation podcasts? I don't know, but I really enjoyed interviewing people. So I just kept bringing people in, keep reaching out to people. And then we did the Final Fantasy VII special, which I was waiting for the Final Podcast 7 because I was like, we got to do Final Fantasy VII all the way. Right. So this one, it's really cool because I kind of want to play the intro for you guys. I actually reached out to a lot of content creators and asked them if they wouldn't mind sharing like a testimonial style, you know, what Final Fantasy VII means to them. So I think I started off, I don't know, but while that goes, I'll read the chat for a second. But so shout out to Osby. Osby is the one that made that intro.
It's 1997, and I have to sneak downstairs to watch my older brother Sean play Final Fantasy VII, because I was not old enough to play rated teen games. But Sean eventually was able to convince Mom to allow me to play it, and my 7-year-old mind just could not fully fathom the complexities of such an amazing story. But man, did it plant the seeds to my imagination. And those roots are burrowed in real deep into my mind. But as I grow older and life happens, I start to understand, or I've understood the core themes of Final Fantasy VII about life and death. In 2006, my brother Sean passed away with cancer. So I feel closer to him when I play Final Fantasy VII, like a bridge that connects me to him, like the live stream. Final Fantasy VII is part of who I am. For me and for many others, it transcends gaming with its iconic characters and world, its music, the nostalgia, its themes of love and loss, self-discovery. It's all so relatable. And that is why Final Fantasy VII will always be, quite possibly, the greatest game ever made.
Final Fantasy VII was special not only because it was a fun game to play, but because its thematic content combined with exceptional storytelling showed us that video games could be much more than interactive toys. They could expand our horizons, making us think about relevant life themes and feel for characters with whom we could relate. It was more than just a game to many of us who grew up with it. It was a formative experience.
After 23 years, die-hard Final Fantasy fans have finally been reunited with their favorite cast of characters in their favorite JRPG world. For those of us that have been eagerly waiting to return to Midgar, long before there were whispers of a remake, there's no greater gift than this.
Final Fantasy VII is my favorite out of all the Final Fantasies because it was really my first experience with a JRPG. I grew up playing video games as a kid, mostly on Nintendo consoles, so when I first experienced Final Fantasy VII, it was with my best friend who owned a PlayStation console. I was just completely blown away by the characters, the graphics, and the amazing story. It really resonated with me. That's why I continue today to talk about Final Fantasy VII, and I've created the Reunion podcast, and I can't wait to see where Square Enix takes the story in part 2 of the remake.
Hi guys, it's MJ Gallagher. Final Fantasy VII had a profound impact on my life, and it's the main reason that I became a writer. It's the first RPG that I ever played, and remains my favourite game to this day. The characters, the story, the themes, all of it helped shape my view of the world. As a result of Final Fantasy VII, I have met some insanely talented individuals. Because of Final Fantasy VII, I've been invited to international conventions. Because of Final Fantasy VII, I've won awards as a writer. So I think it would be fair to say that without Final Fantasy VII, my life would be very different.
Final Fantasy VII was the first game to provide me with a true narrative experience. It proved to me that the medium could tell a story that fundamentally changed how I saw the world. More than any other game, it connected me to a profound sense of wonder, excitement, fear, sadness, and even loss. It inspired me to view the planet as something that should be revered, protected. Nothing has ever had that kind of impact on me.
This game has changed my life for the way better, and it's let me grow this YouTube channel. It's let me connect with you guys from all around the world, and that's why I think that it's had such a cultural impact. Because no matter what walk of life you're from, no matter whether your sexuality, your gender, your race, your religion, no matter what, this game connects all of us. And that is just beautiful and a magical thing to me.
Final Fantasy VII touches so many people and captures something about us that is fundamentally human, or perhaps mortal about us. It's a story that challenges us to think about areas of our lives that we oftentimes don't want to think about. And it also shows that people continue to live and find good times even in the darkest of situations. And that in the end, we too, along with everyone we love, eventually have to return to the live stream. It forces us to find more meaning in regular life.
Woo! Woo! Yeah, I wasn't even ready. I was like, I started off, it's all good. It's gonna be a really quick thing. I had to watch the whole thing because, man, and it looks like you guys agree, man. Man, that's so good.
Welcome to Final Podcast 7. This is a very
freaking
special
curtain behind me.
FFTV special.
I also just love seeing the
We are
evolution of the
dedicating the
facial hair.
entire
To me, that's kind of its own
legacy
interesting
of Final
subplot
Fantasy
in all of
VII.
these episodes.
And joined with me
I keep it
in the
keep
party.
it different in every video.
I always
I know,
PHS
it's good,
the
you know?
boys
You gotta
into the
keep
party.
people on their feet
This
here,
is
all right?
Vinny McGovern.
It's like remake and rebirth.
It's like it's like so if anybody, you know how everybody, these content creators have those like cartoon images for their profile pictures. I'm like, nobody's gonna be able to make a cartoon image of me, man.
Yeah.
I'm just changing, like, what am I gonna look like the next day, you know? Because I'll tell you what, man, this little like growing in beard, it's got to go, man. Either it's got to go, it's got to grow. You know, it's got to go or got to grow. I don't know what to do with it. But
so I always have a laugh whenever you ask the question, your guess, what does FF7 or whatever it is mean to you? Because your instinct is always positive. You try to lift up people in the community, ask them what makes FF7 resonate with them, and it literally spreads throughout the community, like the live stream, in the sense of, you know, like everyone can hear what everyone is good for everyone else, and you know, there's always some people for whom it's simpatico. Always amused because I don't think anyone is ever going to give an answer that has the same resonance. Yours.
Yep.
And it's always just funny to me. And some people, and hey, whatever the reason that you're here, the point is, love this.
You love it, yeah.
But I always just find it funny that, you know, I would not want to be the act that followed you, let's just say, after your answer. And it is my sincere hope that someday, like Britt Barone or Brianna White or someone like that hears your story, and like they turn around and say, Square Enix, you see this guy? Like, hello, is the man that you need to elevate as, you know, why your product is amazing.
Oh man, I appreciate that, man. I really do. And like, speaking of Britt Barron and Brianna White, so hard to reach. Like, I would love to have them on the show. I'd love to have more voice actors, voice talent on the show, man. Like, I just love that behind the scenes. I love what they think of the characters. And like you said, you know, whenever I ask, what does Final Fantasy VII mean to you? I love asking that question. And like you said, it's going to resonate differently for everyone. And I love learning that. And then I love asking, what's your favorite Final Fantasy? And when somebody says to me, like, oh, Final Fantasy IX, I think Final Fantasy VII sucks, I'm like, you know what? I love that too. It's just, I'm just like,
that's the spice of life.
I'll sit there and go, that's interesting, man. Why? Because I want to know now. Like, what is it about that? And then of course I also love. I gotta put that out there too. It's like, whenever somebody comments on the channel, as long as they're not disrespectful or like rude or whatever. But if you don't like something, that's cool. I want to engage with that. I want to know, like, why, you know, obviously this is coming from a place of passion. They've obviously clicked into a Final Fantasy video. That means they like Final Fantasy, but they might be a little disappointed in something that's happening. So I love, like, just all sides of the spectrum, man. I love talking to people about Final Fantasy. So being able to
that end,
yeah.
To that end, I got an idea for you.
Okay.
I'll believe in, you know, like, if you're comfortable and secure in yourself, hey, we can just like talk about it and it's all good because we're all here for, you know, to be positive, etc. I think you should have an episode where you have to play devil's advocate.
Ooh.
You have to argue FF7 sucks or whatever the game is. Like, I think that would be funny. To be your job, you're to take on some persona. You're gonna be the Garland. And you're gonna just like argue, this plot makes no sense. Okay, let's talk about Kate Seath over here for a second. You know, like, I think that would actually be an amusing exercise to go through.
Tom in chat, I need a pun. Give me a good pun. I got Cloud of Darkness. We got Garland over here. Would I need to be the Cloud of Doubtness? What am I? You know, like, what is the antagonist of the Warrior of Hype? You know what I mean? What would that be? Yeah. I love that. You're gonna come up with that persona, and then I'm going to it's gonna make a whole character out of it. I love that idea, dude.
absolutely.
I don't know what I would say. That would be tough. But yeah, so I mean, getting that
Disciple
video.
of depression. You can go. Hey everyone.
Hey everybody. Let me tell you something.
Disciple of depression.
Let me
I need to talk about my.
All right, so we got going through. They did the Final Fantasy VII special, and then I did the unfiltered thoughts. Now this one was interesting. I'm not going to click into every video. You know what I mean? We're not going to do that all. But the unfiltered thoughts on that one, I really wanted to get that out there and in the open because I always want to be open on the show, right? The warrior of hype, going to bring the hype, but I also want to bring the realness, right? Because today, it's all come full circle for me, Rob. Because I made this video in particular because I wanted this day to come, Rob. I knew that when I first saw that Final Fantasy VII Rebirth trailer, when that first trailer drops, maybe not the very first trailer, but that second one, the one at Summer Game Fest, bro. Woo! I knew that's all it would take.
Those obsessively. I don't know how my wife tolerated that. Like every few days, like, hey, can we watch this again, darling?
Gotta watch it again,
baby.
baby.
Analyze this a little bit more. Yeah.
Exactly. I knew this day would come, man, because like I made this one unfiltered thoughts on it because I wanted to get it out there of how I felt after Remake. I rolled credits on Remake. I wanted to let people know that listen, I had a really hard time. I've had a really rough time with this, like coping with it. You've heard, like, it's literally back-to-back episodes. They kind of go hand in hand. They're companion episodes. So it's kind of like, listen, here's the reason why Final Fantasy VII really means so much to me. Here's the reason why Remake has made me feel something that I wasn't expecting to feel. Like, I'm not happy. And then it took me a long time to get out of that, to get to a point where I accepted it and all that other stuff. So if you want to hear that story and how I felt about Remake at the end of it, there's that video right there. But I wanted to get that out there because if you do go back and watch this, guys, whoever's watching this and wants to, please watch this video and then immediately watch one of my recent videos. Because it's like, oh my god, he's excited for this game now. Like, look at that. They've done it. They freaking did it. Watch my reaction video to the... I think it was a Summer Game Fest one. I think it was the Summer Game Fest trailer. The reaction video... No, it wasn't. That was inside the theater. Yeah, that was a good one. But the other reaction video... Because, man, I think I said at the end of it, all doubt has been removed. Like, I'm so freaking excited for this. And then we had Vic Chow on right after that. The voice of Sung. So cool. I wish I could find the part. Let me see if I can. Yeah, Mad Libs. Okay. So, let's go with, Vic Chow is so great, dude. Vic Chow was actually on, like, American Gladiator, which was so cool. There's a lot of...
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of really fun things. Spider-Man inspired Vic. The moment he found out he was going to be in Final Fantasy VII Remake, the ambiguity of Sung, I can't speak. Then they just started talking about like some of those what are they called? B movies, and then his audition, his favorite Spider-Man. There's a lot of great things in here. He's got a Barrett impersonation. And then we get to the Mad Libs.
That's what we need in Rebirth. We need to have, at some point, Sung does a parody of Barrett, like pretending to do his voice. That I want to see that.
Yes. See, oh, man, I still don't have the audio balancing right. Oh, no.
One of those happy...
Oh man, if you guys do want to go back and watch these videos, turn up the volume. Oh god, it's so bad. I hate that because a lot of these great guests that we had on the show, just the volume needed to be cranked up. But the audio balancing was bad with John. It's just. With Night Sky Prince, I accidentally left it on Spotlight rather than tiled view in Zoom. I was using Zoom, Robert.
That's okay. Back then, you know, everyone who wasn't a government employee who had to use Zoom. So, it's very forgivable.
So yeah, that was we were using Zoom, and that really sucked. Tom, you're okay. 3 a.m. in Germany. Tom, thanks so much for watching, man. You know what? I'm gonna answer Tom's question now before he goes to bed. Let's do that. Because you're sticking around. I'm gonna answer your questions. Tom writes in and says, I'm gonna go with a classic question. What is your all-time favorite Final Fantasy VII crew and why? Now, I gotta go with my original 97.3, baby. Gotta go Cloud, Barrett, and Red 13. That was my crew back in the day. That was Daniel, Badaz, and Scooter, and that's the way.
Scooter.
Yeah.
I love it. I don't know why, but I love it.
That was the crew, man. So that's my all-time favorite crew, and I'm probably gonna use them a lot in Rebirth. It's not my current. Like, I don't know, like, things have evolved, right? Because Tom's next question, what 3 characters would you have in your team if you had to have only one and the same for the entire game of Rebirth, right? So I said Cloud, Aerith, and Tifa. I changed it up because I want to know, man. I love that dynamic, love that dynamic of what's going on there. So I would say Cloud, Aerith, and Tifa because whenever a cutscene happens or whenever something's happening in the environment, I want to hear what they have to say about it. I want to hear some banter. I want to hear them talking about Cloud behind his back or in front of his face.
Yes.
Yes. Like
let's be honest. Nanaki's probably just going to be kind of bored more than anything.
I wouldn't mind having him around just for like the lore. Like when he was like, there once was a story of a big condor. That's like, oh, thanks for that information, man. You let me know that there was a condor that used to sit up there. So he'll provide that lore for me. So I feel like. Like somebody like Mo, MJ Gallagher, will definitely have Red 13 in there.
Mo is Nanaki.
Yeah.
Well, no, Mo is too much fun, but anyway.
So, what would it be if you had to, if you could exchange Cloud? Which is an interesting, because if I could, I wouldn't, Tom. I gotta keep Cloud in there. But if I had to, Barrett, Tifa, and Aerith. What about you? What about you, Rob?
Is it what was my go-to back then, or what would I want now?
I guess I don't know. Maybe just give me both.
All right. Back then, Aerith, Tifa, and Cloud.
There we go.
So believe me, it hit hard.
Oh.
When so are we good with spoilers? I can say anything about OG. I
yes.
assume?
We're good to go. Everybody spoilers.
When you get to the point where, Cloud is gone, Tifa is gone, Aerith is especially gone. I was like, God,
especially
gone. I have lost everyone in my party at this point. They're all gone. Just for me, it's such a character-driven thing that there are certain qualities that really drew me in about in Tifa's relationship as characters that I resonated with me, that even if you told me that objectively the worst person for every combat situation, one of them, I would say I don't give a darn because everything about their dynamic is A+.
Yeah.
And so like that's why Remake is great for me, that like they just accentuate the relationships even more.
Dude, Rebirth is going to be like that too. Like with Rebirth, they've revamped Aerith to a point where I'm like, oh, I'm definitely going to want to use Aerith in my party, like that looks really cool. Like to be able to enhance her like Tempest ability, to be able to just teleport to the next ward. I'm like, dude, that's freaking cool now.
And how much replay are we going to get that we will have at least some known degree of like ability to pick a party. We don't know how much, but we're gonna like replay every darn scene over and over again to get the dialogue that we didn't get from the other one.
Oh yeah.
So as much as you may have like your preferred party. If you're super diehard, you're like, well, I have to do every combinatorical set of options here so I can see all of the interactions.
Actually, I'm just kind of thinking about it right now, actually, because I was on board with you, but Rebirth is going to kind of like to make that okay, because all the party's going to be with you the entire time. Because remember, like, they follow with you, everybody's following you, and then when you get into a battle, those three just everybody kind of steps aside. So the party's going to be traveling together the entire time anyway. So I kind of thought about, like, oh wait, if I want to hear what they have to say, they're going to say what they have to say. It's not going to be like I got a different dialogue this time around than I did. So yeah, that's true.
This is speculative on my part, but I'm wondering if that's true for the side quests. For example, I wonder. So this is me speculating. I don't know, but
yeah,
I would imagine they're going to design side quests that are going to cater to certain characters. So you don't have a choice. Barrett's going on this one.
Yeah, I think they showed that actually in the Tokyo Game Show one. They actually did show. This is a Red 13 side quest. Like, you needed to have Red 13 with you to do the scent. Like, it was a whole thing that, like, he was jealous of, or I guess he was jealous of Chocobos, or he was upset that they thought that Chocobos had a better tracking than him. So I thought that was really cool. I'm like, that is something that I really wanted in Final Fantasy 16, or that they did do in Final Fantasy 16, a lot of those character quests. But now it's going to be like, you get to bond with these characters even more. I love those kind of, like, the side quests are really super meaningful. I love it when that happens. So, okay. So, like, he has a couple more questions. I want to get them in before he goes to bed. Here we go. Tom says, if I'm honest, I would probably go with Cloud, Vincent, and Sid. To me, they are simply the three coolest characters. And Vincent's limit breaks are so unique. I can't wait to see his limit breaks in Rebirth. If that happens. It might be part 3. And then it says, he says, and is it going to be the same in the third part of Final Fantasy VII, you think? I think, Tom, you're referring to when Cloud is, like, in the coma and the party has... I would go with Sid, Red, and Barrett. That's my characters right there for that party. And if so, how sad are you that you might have to wait another 4 years? I said that I sure hope that Final Fantasy has some goodness for me in between. This tied me over, Tom. I really do, because it's going to be a tough.
And if they don't, that's why we have this podcast, because we have this community.
That's right.
To tie us together.
We're gonna be talking about something. Hopefully.
Yeah, we'll start obsessively talking about. Did you see this blurred poster in this tiny pixel? Let me give you a 2-hour dissertation about how that is indicative of what the final ending will be.
Time to do
we'll
a breakdown.
Do that. Yeah, we'll imagine that, a tiny aberration of light in a certain scene has great meaning to the overall plot, and that's how we'll keep our sanity.
Hey man, I'll do it. I'll make a video out of it. I love when people were like, people comment, dude, it's just key art, and I was like, but is it?
It isn't to me. It's keeping me going.
But is it? Water and fire mean life and rebirth. They did it on purpose, man.
The stars and rain are the same. I see all the connections.
The lightning represents the calm before the storm behind him. It's happening. The mountains are curving because it's curving away from the merge. It's happening, dude. I go insane, man. I'm looking at it too much.
Let me do some trigonometry to estimate the distances of a fictional world.
All right, so there you go, Tom. Thank you. So, everyone is available to choose. Oh, if everybody was available to choose. Yeah, I mean, let's still go with those. I'll be able to watch and obsess over the same. Yeah, thank you, Tom. Thank you so much for your support. I really appreciate it. Thanks for tuning in for the first half of this podcast, or this final anniversary event. So yeah, here we go. I want to get back to it because we left off with Vic Chow. And then we got Audrey on the show, which, man, talk about, like, reaching out to community of Final Fantasy, some really high-profile Final Fantasy creators. And getting Audrey on the show was fantastic. Super nice person. I really enjoyed this conversation. Talked about the trip of the escape room, the Final Fantasy VII escape room, the Ultimania translations that Audrey keeps up with over on Twitter, like... It's just really cool, man. She does so much for this community, and I'm glad I got to spotlight her. But it's like I say spotlight. but like I'm only getting 500 views on it, so it's like I'm trying really hard to be like.
Don't forget the podcast. Don't forget the podcast.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It was
true.
everything for me, and that's a non-trivial number.
I
I'll look it up
appreciate
for
that.
you. Oh wait, I won't because my phone keeps trying to take over the camera.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Because I'll look it up for you, and then it just takes over. But yeah, so this was really cool to speak to Audrey. I really enjoyed that one, and then this is when this is when I realized what was working and what wasn't. But we wanted to do this because it was fun. So this week we did a little Secret Santa here, man. And this was a fun game. If I were to go back and like edit this down to like take out all the fluff and take out all the in between, right? Edit this thing down, it would be a super entertaining game. This is a fun game. So basically, what it was is that I had each of the guys come in with like a gift to like a picture to present. And then they had to guess who gave it to them, right? Like I think somebody like I don't know, like a hot dog roll, right? Zell, like a pitchfork. Why? Who gave me a pitchfork? Quinna, right? I mean, like that kind of stuff. So there was a lot of like different types of things going on there. I think that was a lot of fun. And then I would slowly reveal them in the room, and one of them was I just snuck Shrek in there. Somebody at one point went, "Is that Shrek? Like, what is Shrek doing here?" Anyways, good time. And then we had Danielle McRae, which was super cool because, like I said, man, I just love talking to people that have been involved with Final Fantasy in some way. And Danielle McRae actually voiced Gwen from Final Fantasy VII Remake, was able to do one of those side quest characters that you can talk to. I think this one was by the warehouse to take down.
Chapter 3.
Chapter 3, yeah. So this was super cool to talk to Gwen. Then I had Team 4-Star on there, which was really cool. The guys who did the Final Fantasy VII Machina Bridge.
They're really cool too.
Yeah, that was a fun episode. Also, the first episode that I had my friend Robert on the show, which was that was kind of cool. Just kind of bringing in not my man right here, not Robert Molt, but a good friend of mine from my entire life. Basically, I was like, hey man, he really loves Team 4-Star, so I had them come in there, and that was really cool. Liam Mulvey from Kingsglaive. This is the era of just bringing in voice actors, people who have had their impact on Final Fantasy. Mallory Lowe, who played Madam M, for one of my favorite Mad Libs. That was very memorable. Let's just say, if any of you have not heard this episode, you are missing out on life.
Fumble.
Oh gosh, she does when she does this reading. I'm not gonna play the whole thing.
Please subscribe if you want to hear headphones drop on the. Yes, relax. I'm only here to mollycoddle.
She gets into it, man. She goes full character, and it's like the things that she says in the most like Madam M voice, and like it's like
she's a natural.
It never breaks. Read the whole thing, and she gave some really silly words, so that's really cool. I tried doing something different. This is what was working, what wasn't. This one took a lot of time to do. I wanted to do community spotlight, like I said, trying to spotlight the community, man. So like I would go on Twitch, find like cool moments that happened with the community, put them all together in just a montage. But man, I don't want to go through every single video because all this is going to take some time. Sleep Easy. This was, I think this was before his very big 5-hour one. He had like those parts. So it was kind of cool to get Sleep Easy on the show when he had those the 5-part videos, and then now he's just kind of skyrocketed into like that was really cool. Yeah, and then we just kind of, I'm going to keep on going here. I don't want to like spend too much time on it, but actually I think this whole era here was all about finding what was working and what wasn't working, and then what was worth my time. I think that was like when you asked me at the beginning of the show, Rob, you were like, hey, did you have any doubt and all this other stuff? What do you want to do? I think it was around this time right here that I was just kind of like, okay, what am I doing? You know what I mean? Like, I'm spending a long time, 2.5 hours, 3 hours, just a bunch, like hour and a half, 2 hours, So this is a long time, a lot of my time. Not to mention, I also, like, I was scripting out all of my questions I wanted to ask everybody. I was scripting out everything like that. And it was taking a long time, a lot of my time. So I got to the point where I was like, all right, what am I doing with this? It was all podcasts. And then I started to try and make standalone videos that weren't, I mean, this one did pretty decent. Reaction videos do very well. People love reaction videos, and I love watching them so people can share the excitement. I love that people watch them. So yeah, man, like I started doing standalone videos. I started doing the community spotlight. What's working, what's not. But yeah, here's a really good one too. Alex Mukala, you can see that it's out of order. It went from Final Fantasy 18 or Final Podcast 18 to Final Podcast 16. I had to re-upload that because the audio was, again, not balanced. And I felt so bad. So I took it down, re-uploaded it, and there you go. Because I think this is a great interview. If anybody has now that Alex Mukala is freaking going to Final Fantasy XIV, what are they called? Fan fests. And being on stage with freaking, that's insane to me. The Primals. He's playing with the Primals. Insane. This was back when he was doing the funky bass riffs and stuff like that. And of course he had if you watch this podcast, he has like a whole portfolio of so many great things that he's done in his career. So I really enjoyed that podcast. But yeah, like talk about all right, here we go, Rob. Talk about something that I put so much time into and it does nothing. The top 10 Final Fantasy favorite songs, the mini games one. This was one that Vinny actually took charge of, and Vinny actually he made an entire document. Like, I mean, this document was several pages. And 2 years later it's still at 94 views. Like, that is it hurts. So because this was well researched, and we just we really wanted to, the history and evolution of minigames is what that was called. And then,
and I think that it's a testimony to, you just got to go with the flow, in the sense of laid plans of mice and men are interred to nothing, right? That, I mean, it's very hard to figure out what's going to resonate and what is going to get people to say, this is the greatest thing in the world, and which are not. And that's okay. It's just the creative process. And there's times, I'm sure, when your scripts have paid off and you prep. And there are probably times where, what? Just off the cuff, you freaking got this.
Yeah, we're actually going to see that happen in just, like, literally, it's about to happen. It's about to happen. So, yeah, this was the whole era of, like, collaborations and interviews and getting together with the State of the Union and talking about Final Fantasy VII together. Really cool stuff here. Big shout out to Sunamods, though.
Gosh.
Yeah, big shout out to them. See, look, another 4-hour podcast. I know this is like, these might be small numbers to some. Some people be like, dude, I stream for like 5 hours daily. You know, like for me, I'm like, this is taking up a lot of my time.
But you got a family, you got a job. And, you know, it's important for all of us as good party members to offer to help you out when we can, because this time commitment is not exactly trivial here. So, and plus, we can all bring to the table our love in a different way.
I appreciate you, man. Thank you for that. Yeah, like, huge shout out to Sunamods here, because Sunamods, from the very first episode that I brought them on, we did a super fun mini game together. They brought a freaking E3 level announcement that they were going to be, I think this is the one where they were like, hey, Echo S8 is now in development. And I'm like, dude, you just freaking cool, man. Like you brought that to our show, which was, it meant a lot. It meant a lot. And they've been super supportive every time that I'm like, hey, we're gonna do some more game shows. Do you want to be part? And Suna is on it, man. So big shout out to Suna. Thank you so much for that, Suna. And then here we go. Here we go, bro. It's about to happen, Rob. It's about to happen. Because I know you can see it down there. Alright. So it's about to happen. It was around this point where I thought it was time. Fantasia was coming out. And the idea sparked in my head. This is me getting a step.
You talk to God.
I mean,
you talk to God.
I'm just gonna climb all the way up the stairway of heaven. I'm just gonna go up there and be like, listen. You know how earlier I was like, I'm reaching in the clouds. Imagine I'm just I'm head in the clouds at this point. So I go. The Fantasia, man, I found a way, because I don't want to talk about too much of like how I do these things, because that's, I don't know how personal that could be for like, like, hey, you can't share like, how you're doing this stuff. I don't know, but anyways, I reached out to Mistwalker. This is Hironobu Sakaguchi's like, this is his company, right? He's making Fantasia, right? So I reach out to Mistwalker and I say, I think this might be the first time I'm sharing this story, like, without people, like, usually when I'm offline, like, off air, I'll usually tell them, like, dude, this is how it all went down. But I think it's fine to share. I reach out, and I say, man, I'm going to Mistwalker. I make myself sound super professional. Rab, I make myself sound like you want to be on my show.
I'm well composed. I'm just a fan.
Hi. My name is Daniel.
I appreciate your work.
Yeah. My name is Daniel. I'm with the Final Fantasy Entertainment and Podcast Network, Final Fan TV. First time I used that. That was the inception of that. Because I was like, I can't just say Final Fan TV. I can't say I'm a content creator. I can't say I'm just a dude. I'm with I know I am the owner and operator, or owner and founder of the Final Fantasy Entertainment and Podcast Network, Final Fan TV, where I've had many voice actors such as John Eric Bentley, the voice of Barrett Wallace. I've had and like you just kind of go through the whole list, and I'm just like reaching out because I would love to speak with Hironobu Sakaguchi about his brand new game coming out, Fantasia. And I would like for him to speak directly to the Final Fantasy fans, because that is the audience I feel that would, like, would really appreciate this, that need to know about this game. So like reaching out to them, they reply and said, Sakaguchi-san is only doing written interviews. Will that work? And you would think I'm up there. I've climbed the stair. I'm in there. I'm talking to him, man. I'm talking to the father. Right? Well,
yes.
I'm indirectly speaking to the father. And I say, no. and I say, no. That would not work. I said Final Fan TV is a video podcast. Like our format is video. I said, if that is all he would do, I said, I'm not going to, turn down this opportunity. Like, this is an opportunity of a lifetime. I said, of course, I would do this. I said, we'll figure it out. We'll make it work. I'll read it if I have to. I'll read that interview in a video. And I said, so of course we'll do it. And then I see that Game Informer, I think at the time, Game Informer had a video interview. So I reached out again and I was like, hey, I see that there was a video interview, just double checking, making sure it's possible. Maybe things have changed. And they agreed.
Talk about playing your cards perfect.
Ooh.
Like, just...
Then Mistwalker agreed, and there we go. Oh man, and then there it is right there on the channel. To be able to speak with Sakaguchi-san, that was so cool. That when they agreed, I remember like sending a message to Vinny, like, "Oh my god!" Like just all caps, slam exclamation marks all the way across. I was like, "This is insane! You're never ever going to believe what I just did." So
just reflect. What would you say to your younger yourself or your brother after all this time? Be like, yeah, This is what I've created. I'm talking with Barrett. I'm talking with God of FF. I mean,
never would.
Just reflect on that briefly.
Man, so it was after this video, like after we did this interview, literally, because we had to record it. I spent the time. I took the time, man. I said, look, I'm going to cut out all the translations, like, because every time I spoke, the translator had to speak, he had to speak, and then the translator had to speak. So I cut out all of that. I trimmed it down to a nice, even 25-minute video, so you don't have to worry about waiting for the translations to come in. I overlaid the translation over his talking, so that way, when he's talking and he's using, like, you know, you can see his personality and everything, the English translation is going over top of it. I just spent a lot of time with this one. So right after editing that video, I don't know if I sent the message to Vinny or whatever. I just said, listen, man, if I stop making Final Fantasy TV today, I'm good. I'm like, dude, I'm good, man. This is the greatest achievement that I never thought would be possible. When I never thought speaking with John Eric Bentley would be possible, but like everything just kind of kept stacking, and here we are. That was a moment that's an achievement right there, man. That's the achievement. So,
yes, it is.
And then, like, not only having the Sakaguchi-san interview, but also the video before was probably the most successful video or one of the most successful videos that I had posted at the time. Like, you can see it's at 8,000. That's way more than whatever else is happening before. So that happened. And then the Tifa and Dolphins Explained. I'm very proud of that one. Because I kind of came up with this. I was like, it just hit me. It clicked. I was like, oh, I think I figured this out, of why dolphins and Tifa are related. Like why you can draw relations there, and why she uses it. But I'm really proud of that video. It started doing really well. I think this was indeed the very first video to reach 1,000 views, and that was a big milestone for us. like that was a big milestone. Like, whenever a video crossed 1,000, it was a celebration. I'm like, freaking 1,000, baby! Da, 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 da. This is the difference. Yeah. The difference between now and then, 1,000 views was a celebration. It took weeks for it to reach 1,000. Now, if the video doesn't hit 1,000 within the first 24 hours, or if it doesn't hit 1,000, I'm just like, I messed up. That wasn't a good video. So it's like, it's crazy how the new standard for me is 1,000. But yeah, so, man, what a moment. I just wanted to share that. And then we keep on going, finding out right after Sakaguchi-san, this is actually very interesting, because I was going to call it quits. I think I was like, this is taking way too much of my time. I'm having a hard time balancing things. And then I was like, I mean, look at these videos. I mean, did all right. But, like, these videos is not doing good. They're taking a long time. I didn't know what to do. I was like, Feud would be fun. It didn't. I mean, it's fun. Game shows I love doing them, but they don't do well. It was just kind of like, man, I am not doing too well with this stuff. And then I snagged the interview.
So maybe that's the good question to ask you. Mm-hmm. And this is back then, but it's also a question for now.
Okay.
What is success? What is it that gives you morale to say, there ain't no getting off of this train? Like, where are you now in terms of, like, what it is that makes you resonate? Like, yes, it would be awesome if you could get Brianna White or whoever it is. Like, that's cool.
Yeah.
But what? I think that's a good question for those of us who are just consumers and fans, so we know, like, yeah, well, what is success for you?
I'm so happy I brought you on the show, Rob. Great question, man. So, like, I know the answer. I'm just trying to find the way to word it. But it was just kind of like there was a moment where I just went, it's not about views. It's not about how big the subscriber count is going up at the moment. Like, I was too focused on like, man, that was a fail. That one's a fail. Look at this crap. I'm spending hours and hours on this stuff. And then I got back to it, man. You'll see it happen. Where I was just like, this sucks. Everything is not working out really well for me. And then I got to speak with the cast of Intergrade. And then it sparked. I was like, this is why I do it. This is why I started it. I want to speak to the people who were involved with the game. And I love this podcast. Like, this one here, one of my favorites. One of my all-time favorites, because Daniel Ammerman, I mean, the whole cast, so fantastic. But Daniel Ammerman is freaking hilarious. Like, he did a on-the-spot improv. Just like on-the-spot improv of, I don't even know, I think it was like a Final Fantasy VII commercial for, oh crap, what are the names? Detal Nuts? Or I think it might have been that. I don't know. Like, what are they called?
Yeah. The Chow Beans.
The Chow Beans. Yeah. Oh, I think he just, I don't know. I don't think that's what it was, but he did an on-the-spot improv, and this was a really, really fun thing to do. I was also wrestling with, my own thoughts, I guess. So, like,
your own internal Sephiroth telling you to do bad things.
Kind of. It was also kind of like, I kind of viewed others in a negative. I was like, oh man, this is kind of, like all I want to do is talk to people. I want to do that, but then I started kind of getting the feeling that everybody was kind of out for themselves and stuff. And like, that was totally wrong to think about. But like, I was in the mindset that I'm like, man, this is, but everything, I had to kind of come to grips with it. I'm just like, listen, I kept on saying it too. I'm going to stay in my lane. Just stay in my lane and do what I want to do, which is talk to people involved in Final Fantasy, talk with people who love the games. Stop trying to make things that are not related to Final Fantasy, like E3 predictions and just posting random videos of like of music. So yeah, I was like, dude, what was working for me? The calm video. The what to expect was working. Let me follow up on that. So I did, and it worked. It got up to 1,000. I freaking love this idea of having a band perform live. The Chocobo band performed live on the show. That was amazing. Tom, you're still awake, man. Oh man, well, hold on a second. Please don't ever quit. I'm still here. Had to speak up. Tom, it's 4 a.m. for you. 3:30. I don't know. Thank you so much. You already the warrior of hype. And oh man, thanks so much, man. Thank you. See, this is the stuff right here. This is the stuff, Rob. You were asking. The balls. No, it will not work for me, Mr. Sakaguchi-san. That was a redundancy. Yeah. Troubadour Poet. Thank you so much for being here. Bonjour. All right, so anyways, yeah, that was, I loved having the Chocobo band on here. Tried to make that as cool as I possibly could. They didn't have, like, their other cameras were not working. I had gotten with them to have cameras all set up around so I could just switch between who I wanted to focus on and make it more engaging. But hey, you get some live music there in a time during the pandemic when they were not allowed to perform. Like, they could not go out and perform, and they appreciated this so much. Like, it was so cool speaking with, I think I spoke with the guitarist in this to kind of arrange everything. Super appreciative. Like, man, this is our passion. This is what we love to do, and we just haven't been able to do it. So thank you for getting us together, giving us a reason to perform. I was like, dude, that meant a lot. So followed up again with what to expect. So I'm starting to find what's working here. I'm like, oh yeah, let's keep that going. Now let's see here. I got John Bentley back on the show. It's like I needed some injection of excitement and hype and energy. He brings that energy. This is also a really good one. I also I tried out something different where I like kind of broke it into different standalone videos. That kind of works out. Legion's on here to talk with me about the world map. This is where the world map obsession began. where I became a map guy. Let's see, man.
And I love that it persists, by the way. I love that it persists. It's
thank
a positive.
you. I love doing it. It's weird. I don't know why. If I see a map, I just want to go at it. You know what I mean?
Just the story of why FF7 resonates. That alone should be enough for Square Enix to, throw you a dime, to say the least. You know what? I swear to God, the creativity of what you can do from the smallest things, they should pay you to just sit in a room, connect dots in all sorts of ways, and boom shakalaka, they have an entire new set of content made just by letting you play.
Just let me play. Living on the East Coast kind of it sucks because a lot of opportunities on the West Coast, but yeah, let me play it, man. I'd love to do some stuff like that. That's why I was so excited to be invited to the pre-launch event. Now, Robert, before I keep on going on, man, is this interesting to you? I feel like
is what interesting?
This whole rundown here. Should I kind of skip ahead a little bit here? I feel like, Chad, should I skip ahead a little bit? I'm kind of going. I'm taking every little.
I think that you need to look at it as is what touch on anything that is resonant for you.
Okay.
If it was a show and it did a thing and it had numbers, okay, great, those are all true statements. But take this as a time for internal reflection for this is why I do what I do. This is why it's awesome. You get a victory lap, dude. You've been around. This is your anniversary. Is it that makes this a success?
I feel you.
And be it.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so I definitely needed to
Next
highlight
week you can go back to being, a slave producer of content, and predictions and minute over analysis of the tiniest thing, etc., because we love it too much.
Yeah. Sorry. Don't ever watch my top 5 video there. I don't like it. My opinion's already changed. I'm like, man, that's forever cemented right there. That's not how I feel anymore. But anyway, so that's why I don't really do too many top 5s or anything. So Daniel, when are you going to respond to my email, Black Sheep? I thought I did, Black Sheep. What am I doing? What am I missing? I'll have to go back. I thought I did respond. But I do admit that
He's too busy negotiating with the gooch.
Yeah, with the gooch, bro. The second Gucci. I'll make sure I go back and check because I do want to have you on the show really bad. So we got to make that happen, Black Sheep. We got to make that happen. You've been here since the beginning. Man. So just kind of going through. I thought this was a really fun show. I kind of want to make return where I just listed 7 random things. I did enjoy that. It wasn't ranking. It was just listing. Austin Lee Matthews was freaking great. I love speaking with Austin Lee Matthews. He's got a lot of energy. He super fun. Did the Mad Libs. I'll see you at church, you son of a gun. The Mad Libs was great, man. Mad Libs was so fun. I
think we passed over your. And tell me if I'm wrong. I think we passed over your interview with the sound crew for recording.
Oh, not yet. No, that's.
Oh no, we have it. Okay, I'm getting misplaced. Sorry, my bad.
That's okay. Yeah. So this is really good. Another what to expect thing. That was kind of cool. Yeah, Cliff Resort. Yeah, I like these what to expects were doing good, so I kind of stuck with them. I said, all right, they take a little longer to make, but I'm gonna make them. Let me see. Chat, let me know if you want to like me to stop on something and go back to something. Let me know about that too. Listen to Megaton Girl. Yes, thank you, Sid. Thank you. Megaton Girl is Austin Lee Matthews' radio drama or radio comedy drama. It's really cool. It's a radio superhero play comedy drama. It is a lot of fun. You can get it on YouTube, podcast services, and stuff like that. Really good. Let's see what else we got. Let me know if you want me to go back on something. Oh, here we go, Rob. This is something that was interesting that happened to us. So became ambassadors for Final Fantasy VII First Soldier. It was really cool that I was able to get the attention of Square Enix in some capacity. Unfortunately, becoming the ambassador of Final Fantasy VII First Soldier was very, very difficult. Because I was excited about Final Fantasy VII First Soldier, and I was making content on it, as you can see. And then as I kept making content on it and playing the game, I love the game. I love the gameplay, and I miss it. I'm going to go ahead and say it. I think Final Fantasy VII First Soldier is better than Ever Crisis. I'm
with you 100%.
Yeah.
Completely agree. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. I freaking love
it
that
game. Whatever ills you would like to say of it, it had a spirit. It was a service to the fans in what they wanted.
Yeah.
It wasn't cheap in any sense. I mean, you can argue it's not for you. Maybe you're just not a first-person shooter sort of guy.
That's a good argument. That's really the only thing. Like, oh, I don't like battle royales. Right. So it's like, all right, I get that. But here's the biggest thing that you can argue against it, and this is where I was personally struggling with it as an ambassador, that I couldn't make content anymore. Like I said, man, I keep it genuine. Yeah. I'm not going to spread hype if I don't feel hype myself. Yeah, man, like the game, I loved it. It didn't love me back. That is
an excellent way to say it. That's an excellent way to say it.
It had some really, really low drop rates and all that other stuff, and I'm like, man, I spent so much money just to get a freaking polygon figure, and none of the boxes I opened had a minute. I was upset.
Yeah.
I was like, this is ridiculous. So I stopped playing it. But I really appreciated the opportunity to become an ambassador. That was a really, really big moment for me. I was like, got the attention. I got the attention of Square.
You might again, in all fairness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, it's like this is the first time that I had direct line of contact with Square Enix. Somebody, like that was super cool.
I hope you framed it as, hey, you probably know me because. The gooch. I hope you framed it in the most arrogant way possible for this, even because I know you're a very humble, kind person. That it's not you. You would just love to well, I think it would be very beneficial for you, Square Enix, to partner with someone who's got such tight connections as John Bentley and Mo Gallagher and
the gooch.
Yeah, and the gooch. I mean, no. Maybe you've heard of him.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know, man. He's only the father. I don't know. But yeah, so that was really cool to get that. I just couldn't support it anymore, so that kind of sucked. But yeah, I got to speak with some more developers, which was really fun to get kind of like an inside look at the how games are made. But they're making the Memoria project over there. Really cool. Keep on going. Let's keep on scrolling through here. I switched gears to focus mainly on Stranger of Paradise. Like that was kind of my strategy that I implemented, but I really committed to it with 16. I'm about to skip over something extremely important. Here it is, right there.
Oh gosh, yes.
This is the
beginning of these videos. Oh, I love these.
This is the one, man. Hopefully it loads and I'm still streaming. Yeah. Like if I don't have internet here, what's going on? All right. There we go. Let's skip back to the beginning. Okay, so this is where it was, man. This is the viral video, which
these were all wonderful.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh no, I appreciate that. Like, this is the video that really did it, man. This is
I want to say I hope you do this again in Rebirth, but at the same time, I can only imagine how much time it takes to do this that I don't want to throw you under a bus. But it's such a testimony, how beautifully done this is, and how much they really care.
Dude, thank you. Yeah, it was definitely very, very time consuming, but I did this just because I love doing it. Every video of when I just really enjoyed doing this, I was like, this is so freaking fun. This is so cool. Every time I would put a scene together, I'm like, oh man, it looks so good. Look at it. Look at it. I kind of did the fight battle there. I was really happy with this, except I wasn't the night of uploading it. So I got my story about this one is I kept editing and editing because after doing capturing all the footage, big shout out to Otis _INF, by the way, who does the camera mod that you can break free of the set camera, and you can just move it wherever you want. And then with that mod, I was able to make the video. So big shout out to Otis_INF. But yeah, so like every time I would do this, I'm like, oh man, this is super cool. But when I was editing it, I didn't like this. I was like, ah man, that's off center. So like, I don't know if you noticed, but like this is the PlayStation 1 box was not center. So it happened a couple times. I undo just delete the video, re-edit, re-render, send it up and see what happens again. And then like something else was wrong with it. And I was just like, oh man, I got to do it again. Yeah. And like some of the scenes that I captured, I was like, oh, the angle is not exactly right. So when you see the bridge leading to the Mako reactor, I had to redo that so many times. Like boot up Final Fantasy VII Remake, get to that part of the game, get the angle just right, re-record it, re-edit it, re-upload, like all that other stuff. So it got to about, I think it was like 3 a.m. in the morning. I needed to go to bed. Yeah, here it is. It was super early in the morning and I needed to go to bed. And I'm just like, you know what? Send it. Send it to the internet. I don't care anymore. So I just like uploaded it to YouTube and went to bed. I was done. See, like this right here, I finally got the angle pretty close. Like that's pretty darn close. But yeah, so I was like, just send it to the internet, man. I'm done with it. Woke up in the morning and I opened my phone and dude, I got text messages blowing up my phone. I got Facebook messages. Like, dude, you're on GameSpot. Like, dude, you're on freaking Eurogamer right now. Dude, like, it was just going crazy. And I'm like, what? I'm on GameSpot. So like I check GameSpot. There it is. Final Fantasy TV imagines what modders can do with Final Fantasy and all this other stuff, like Final Fantasy VII Remake. Now it's on PC. It was really cool, man. It was super cool. If I brought up the analytics, if I could bring up the analytics, you would see this spike. It went from I told Vinny at the beginning of the year, I said, dude, my goal is to get 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. I think we were at like 700. I think when I looked, I was at 700 subscribers, and I said, Vinny, I want to get to 1,000 by the end of the year. I posted this video. Does it say when I posted the video? No, it's like January 3rd. So January 1st, I said I want to get to. I said on January 1st, I said I want to get to 1,000 subscribers before the end of the year. January 3rd, I was at 2,000. Like it just freaking boom, 2,000 subscribers overnight. So this video was.
And you haven't even liked your own video.
I
just
like
random thing I noticed to see your first person view.
You haven't even liked your own video. Yeah, so yeah, that was God, what a video there, man. So I saw this a long time ago. I had no clue it was you. Sid said that. Oh, awesome. I'm glad that you're here, Sid. Thank you for that. Yeah, didn't know it was me. Awesome. Yeah, so I mean, making that video was a huge deal. It went 2,000 subscribers overnight. And then once again, just like after Sakaguchi, I just didn't know what to do after that.
That's fair. It's good.
Yeah, it was just kind of like, all right, I need to follow up with a PS2 or like another part 2 of this, like as fast as I can. And I worked hard, dude. I worked I was trying to fast track this. I was like, I need to capitalize on it. So I was working really late at night. I wasn't spending time with the family. I was just I needed to get it done. So that was me struggling. And then this one did really well. I like that one as well. This one, yeah, as you can see, I just kick it right off right at the beginning. There you go. I mean, like, I mean, this is so cool, right? Like, this is so cool to capture how faithful they were. I think that was a lot of the comments too. A lot of the comments were like, dude, this is really showing how faithfully these developers recreated these scenes. And that was really cool to be able to provide that kind of look at it, to be like, oh yeah, man, you're right. This is like a testament to how the developers really cared. Yeah, like the three.
I mean, when people speak ill of the game, and believe me, I get it in the sense of, you know, you and I, for example, have both been down the journey of disappointment about, you know, what the game wasn't in certain regards.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever ill you might say of the game, you can't say that they didn't present an extreme amount of love and an extreme amount of effort to do everything they could. They had some different choices and artistic vision, which is fine. Hey, you know, you're the chef in the kitchen. You got to make it what you want it to be.
Yeah.
You can't say these videos that you made are such great evidence, in my opinion, that I feel like Square Enix really should thank you to say, like, yeah, to anybody who says, you know, we weren't trying, gosh, look at this amount of effort. I mean,
thank you for that, man. Because, like, I think even for me, you just touched on it, where I was just like, we know how I feel about it after I rolled credits and, you know, the whole journey I've been on with this. Yeah. Doing these videos, I came up with a new appreciation. Now, I took scenes that were not in the original game and tried to reimagine it. Like, oh, what would the PS1 camera look like for these scenes? So you can kind of see that, like, oh, okay, so I kind of have it like you go from one. Oh, that's the most played. So I was like, all right, how could battles be done differently? Like, if it was cameras were like this, what if the camera zoomed in and then you go into regular style battle mode, and then as soon as the battle's over, it should go right back up into, there it is, the PS1 cam. So like I was just kind of
I love the sense of scale that all of these videos in this theme exude. You know, like, it makes things seem bigger, personally, because of the camera being like that, as opposed to, you know, what we would call the camera in the game naturally, like pseudo first person kind of.
Yeah, I guess just third person, I guess is fine. But yeah, like that, I think that's a good point. Like when you zoom out, you can really see the detail of the scale. You can also, if you zoom out even further though, there was a lot of like navigating that to make it look cool to PS1 camera. But if I zoomed out even further to get the angle just right, like the environment's not complete over here, because I mean, game design, which is understandable. They usually put mountains and rocks in the way so that way you don't see that. But when you break the camera free, it's like, oh well, I'm seeing things that they didn't want me to see. Now I'm seeing half of Aerith's church is just a black hole, like nothing's there.
That has meaning. It's part of the ultimate plot.
This is where he teleports in time.
Yes, this is where the Dementors are coming from, and that's where Sephiroth teleported in.
Yeah. So that was a really cool thing, man. I tried to capitalize on those PS1 cam videos, and it took me. It was becoming one of those things. I was like, I'm working too hard on this Final Fantasy V stuff. So I had to kind of dial it back. I was still doing stupid things like, why am I doing a podcast when 2 hours again? But the standalone videos are doing pretty well. And I'm like, I do want to do the podcast because that's the reason why I started. But I also kind of think I need to focus in. So I focus in, another one, doing great. They're starting to fall off a little bit, but that's okay. Still really enjoyed them. And then Wheel of Final Fantasy, I will stand by it. Wheel of Final Fantasy is a great idea, and I will bring it back. But yeah,
I'm all for it, man. I'm all for it.
Yeah, man. Let me just keep on going through another PS1 camera. I think eventually, when I really hit my stride was when Final Fantasy XVI was the thing. Like, so I'm going to keep on going down to right about in the PS1 style camera. This was me doing a PS1 style camera on things that the PS1 didn't have. Like, this was all new, completely new environments, and just kind of like imagining what the PS1 style camera would look like, not seen in the original FF7. Here we go. This is where I felt like I hit my stride. Final Fantasy XVI came to be. It came back. It was there when we started with the announcement trailer, and then it came back, and I was like, just when I needed you, Final Fantasy XVI, there you are.
It's a big moment just in terms of, and I don't want to say that spin-offs are in some sense not real, but you know what I mean. It's the mainline series.
This is it.
You get to say, hey, this is FFTV, so this is our bread and butter, people.
I wanted to be like, listen, my goal was I want Final Fantasy TV to be synonymous with Final Fantasy 16. Like, that was my goal. I was like, I want to make Final Fantasy 16 content like it is the only thing that matters. And I want Final Fantasy TV to be up there. So, like, hopefully, whenever somebody thought of Final Fantasy 16, they think of Final Fantasy TV. You know, I want that hype. I got to go to Final Fantasy TV. That was my hope. Sid says, I love the mini games. Thank you. Yes. So Sid loves it. See, I think the mini game show is such a great idea. It just needs some love. It needs some polish. It needs some help. It needs people. Because like running that by myself and that's a no-go. I can't do that, man. Like, I treat that thing like it's a full-on game development. Like, it's gotta be balanced. It's gotta have all that stuff. So, Richard Stolz, thank you, Patreon supporter, man. Thank you so much. Happy anniversary. Appreciate that, Richard. Troubadour Poet says, really enjoy the podcast that we did, and I also did. Troubadour Poet, I think about that one a lot, actually. That was awesome. Thank you. Let's go to all right, yeah, awesome. So I want to keep on going here for just a moment. Robert, how you doing on time?
I am good. You've got me all night.
Oh man, that's what I like to hear, Rob. That's what I like to hear, Robert.
My wife's sick of me, so don't worry about it. Just kidding. He's come in periodically with notes saying, "You sound like an idiot when you say this," so, and I appreciate that. She has taste in general, other than that she married me.
That's great, man. I love that your wife's into all the stuff too, man. Cosplaying as Tifa.
I won the lottery that she's all in on cosplay and picked up all of these games, and she's as excited for Rebirth, and like, yep, we're taking days off of work when this comes out, like, we're doing this.
Yeah, I love that you're like, hey, we're coming up with questions together, and we're replaying all the game just to like.
Oh yeah.
That's so cool.
For that giant document about what are all the unresolved lore questions that we can possibly excessively torture out of. This little bit of dialogue here could be interpreted two ways.
Hey, look, we took one line and we did an entire. That's coming up too, I think. All it was the follow the yellow flowers, and I'm like, Robert, what does that mean?
Do I have a mental patient emailing me about this stuff and a little hyperfixated?
Yeah, so Final Fantasy 16 came along, and it was Final Fantasy 16. It was Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, but mostly 16. This
classy. That's the right way to say this. Classy.
The Roman numeral for 50 is L, so I went ahead and made it.
This is necessary.
This is necessary. This is real necessary, because this is probably the only time anybody ever watches it. I'm going to make you watch this.
Yes.
Podcast L. We're taking the L on. Oh, crap. Why does it keep doing that? I gotta scroll all the way down. Oh. Yeah, that was a terrible one, but it was fun. It was necessary to do.
No, it's not that it was terrible or good. It's that it's necessary.
Here we go. Yeah, Justin Kuzonis came on here. This is the lead recording engineer for Final Fantasy VII Remake. That was a really cool one for me. I very, very much enjoyed that one, because I love talking to voice talent. I love talking to those who have their hands in the pot of Final Fantasy VII. But this is the guy responsible for making sure Final Fantasy VII Rebirth sounds good, or remake sounds good, and being able to get some like inside the booth stories, like, super cool, man, and such a great guy too. So this was one of my favorite podcasts. I do want to highlight it because this is one of my favorite podcasts. This is why I do it, and like, even though I don't even care about views, I was like, this is why I do it. I love this podcast. So shout out to Justin.
I know for me, whenever I replay the game, the little things that he would say about idiosyncrasies of, like, I believe the do recompense.
Yeah, he said he's
that one there. Like, I think of him every time of this. I'm like, oh my gosh, there are so many gems just because of that I love hearing those sorts of little gems that improve your sense of So this amazing thing I liked, it really was just this one guy had this great idea, which is very empowering of what we can contribute to the beauty that is FF.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, so like the whole do recompense one was, I think my question to him was like, hey, was there anything, anything that you were able to get your say in? So whenever somebody was recording a line, like, were you able to have a say? And like, kind of like, hey, I think they should do it something like this. And then he says, well, actually, like he was like, I recommended the do recompense as one of the Beck's badasses to say. I thought that was super cool because, like you said, I think of him every time. Chase Summers, awesome. Shout out to him for making that fan-made animation. Cool to have him. Love having Fuzz Pixels on the show. I'd love to have him back on the show because I love his music. Makes punk rock, Final Fantasy music, and just video game music in general. I don't care what anybody says. The dad jokes are gold. All right?
I'm with you. No, I'm with you. Does anybody... Oh, wait. I want to know the names and addresses of people who are against this.
Yeah, let me know, all right? Listen.
I will fight you. I am pathetically small and tiny, but I will fight you all the same. As a matter of principle, damn it.
As a matter of principle, listen, I'll listen to my own dad jokes. I don't even care. I guess that is a true telltale sign that I am indeed a dad, where I will listen to my own dad jokes and I'll go, that's good. That's a good one. I'm just laughing at my own self. All right. So watch the dad jokes if you haven't yet. Love them. And then more PS1 camera. The Rebirth. This was another breakout. Look at this one. 149,000. This was another, not viral, but was a huge. This is, I think, my second most viewed video. So that's really cool. The Midgar Zalem one. Unfortunately, it's recorded in
on their own.
It looks good on the screen right now. This looks good. But watch it on a non-HDR screen. Or I don't know what it is, but it'll look bad on certain television screens because this was rendered in HDR. So in certain moments it just looks washed out. It looks bad. But right now it's looking okay. So I don't know. Maybe you noticed that, maybe you didn't. I think I'm getting to the point where I can just kind of scroll down now. Yep. All right, so yeah, the Midgar Zalem one. This one was started like Vinny had a paragraph written. He really wanted to do the Midgar Zalem video. He had like a paragraph written, and then he started his classes. So I was like, all right, I'll take over, and I just freaking made that entire document and blew it up out of proportion. It's really cool. It's really cool. Still some things that could still hold up if you want to go back and watch that. Let's go with, yep, here we go. Here's the pivot. Pivot. Look at that. Just so happens to be Final Anniversary 2 as the pivot. So Final Anniversary 2 and in the two videos before. Final Anniversary 2, I had made a declaration of intent, Robert. And I will do that.
This is like a political office.
Yeah, declaration of intent. And I'm going to do that again tonight. I'm going to do it again tonight. All right, it's going to happen. Right after I'm done this. So Final Anniversary 2, I said, listen up. We're Final Fan TV, the Final Fantasy Entertainment Podcast Network, and I have goals. First goal, I want to get a review code for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Or Remake. 16, sorry. I said it so much better in the Final Anniversary. I said, I want to get a code for Final Fantasy XVI so I can provide you with the best possible coverage of Final Fantasy XVI with a review. And then I said, I want to be at an E3 to report coverage from Final Fantasy XVI at these big events. Achieved both of those goals. That I feel like that the reason why is going to follow, but I achieved both of those goals, Robert, and that is power. You know what I mean? That is what makes me want to keep doing this too. You asked me earlier, what is success? What is an achievement? That's an achievement to me. I was like, I'm setting a goal, and I'm going to work hard to get to it. And it happened. And thankfully, I made this I made this podcast, made that that statement at the beginning of the podcast, and then I shared it on Twitter, and I tagged everyone from Square Enix that I knew. I don't normally do that. I hate doing that, by the way. I don't want to ever like ask somebody to be on the show or whatever in a public space. I always try to find a way to ask them, email them, message them. I don't like doing it publicly.
Which is classy.
Right. But I was like, listen, I'm setting a goal right now, and I'm going to do the same thing tonight. I don't like doing it, but I'm going to do it. I want to set a goal. So I just said, I sent it out to everybody from Final Fantasy from Square Enix, and one person replied and was like, I like that drive and that determination. You can email me. So emailed me, and we've been in contact and made that happen. And the reason why it made it happen, because look, the 2 videos before Final Fantasy XVI, you're going to have a hard time finding anything else. There's a Mithril Mines one, which is cool. Still holds up if anybody wants to watch it. Final Fantasy XVI all the way across the board. Got a review code for Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core. Got to do a review code for that. Unfortunately, I still haven't gotten a review code before embargo. That's my goal. But anyway, I'll talk about that in a second. Yeah, so like it's Final Fantasy 16. It's Final Fantasy 16 all the way, baby. A little bit of 7 here and there, but it's 16. I wanted Final Fantasy TV to be synonymous with 16. And here we go. And of course 16 comes out, and I got to do the review and go to the launch event. Super cool. Got to speak with Maximilian at the event. That was really cool. I didn't want to ask him for an interview, but I was like, man, he's right there. And I got my mics on. You know what I mean? I got my little lapel mic. I gotta ask him if he wants to.
It's a fine line.
It's a fine line.
Fine line, but you play it well.
I gotta do it. So speaking with Max was really cool because he is such a super fan of Final Fantasy VII, and I respect that. So being able to speak to him, awesome. Got to meet Ben Starr. Got to meet Nina. Got to meet David. Just so cool, man. Like the cast, I got to Robert Einstein, the voice of Sid. Just hanging out with them. That was the coolest thing. And then second to that, maybe even tied with that, was I walked around and I made sure that like every person there that had a Square Enix shirt on, I was really excited to just go up and shake their hand and be like, dude, thank you. Like, thank you. This is really cool that you've put on a fan event, invited Final Fantasy TV to be here, and you've done all this work just to celebrate. And I was so happy to just shake the hands of everybody wearing a Square Enix shirt. And then, yeah, like, got to hang out with all the other content creators out there too. So that was interesting as well. So, yeah, I just thought that was really cool. And then we're going to keep on going. And now the shift happens to Rebirth. Do you have any questions? Because now we're back up to present day. Any questions you want to ask me? Even everybody in chat. I'm going to get to the Q&A now. Sorry about that. That took a lot longer than I was anticipating. I got lost down memory lane there. But, we're back.
The hype fed in on itself.
You know what I mean?
That happens.
Yeah.
The hype feeds in on itself. So I could torture you with a million questions, but the chat has so many good ones that they should go first, I would think.
Okay. Did you see any in there that I should address? If you see any, let me know. Have you seen the Steel Panther dad jokes? No, I have not. I love dad jokes. I might have to check that out. Ben Starr was outstanding, out-effing standing as Clive. Yeah, dude, and such a really, really cool guy to talk to. He tried really, really hard to get an interview with us. Like, he wanted an interview on Final Fantasy TV, and I gotta give him the shout-out, man. Like, it makes me sad that it never happened, but I was very respectful of his time, and he was all over the place. So at this event, like, he was like, okay, all right, I got an opening slot. We can do the interview. I'm ready to do it. And then it would just be like, dude, I'm sorry, I'm being pulled in like 100 different directions. Can we do it this way? And I'm like, listen, man, don't worry about Final Fantasy TV. Do your thing. Take care of what you got to do. I know you got a lot of going on. So maybe one day we can have Ben Starr on the show, because he is a Final Fantasy super fan as well. So All right.
I mean, there's a desire in me to, like, you know, press for the great State of the Union thing, but I guess we have to say that, you know, to wait a little bit on that. But I'm dying to know what your goals are for what's coming up.
Thank you, man. So I'm trying to say, I mean, I guess I can do that now. I can do that now, and then I'm going to do the Q&A, because the goal is two things. Just once again, I want to make sure I'm saying it right. Goal number one is simple. Goal number one is simple. It is the goal. It is the goal. Second one's going to be a dream goal. Second one's going to be a dream goal. The goal is to receive an early review code of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, to provide a detailed review on day and date of the embargo lifting. I want Final Fan TV, like, I want to be able to be among those who have the reviews ready to go on the day and date. That's going to be very difficult, because when it comes to a game like this, even with 16, they like to keep it as secret as possible. They don't want any kind of leaks, and that is super understandable. But I don't. When you receive a review code and then you have to get the review out a week later or 2 weeks later, it's kind of like, man, you know, I missed that window, that sweet spot where my audience was hoping that I would have, like, something to say on the day of. And that's what I want to provide to you guys. I want to provide that kind of review, like, hey, this is what I like about it, this is what I didn't like about it, but keep it spoiler free, and provide that day one review for you guys. That is the goal, and I'm going to work hard to make sure that happens. As you can see on the channel, I've got a plethora of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth content going on right now, and it's doing really well for me, and I gotta give that a shout. I mean, like I said, if it doesn't hit 1,000 views anymore, I'm like, this is not, I messed up. And each video, you guys are coming out, you're showing up, and I really, really appreciate that. So thank you so much for that. I really need your support to keep on getting the attention of Square Enix. I'm going to need your help to do that again, to let them know, like, hey, we want Final Fan TV to give us a review. That's what you guys can do to help.
So enumerate specifics there. Specifically, what would you want your devoted zealots among the fan base? What could we do to maximize that?
I will definitely give you for the next dream goal. There is something that I would absolutely love for everybody to do.
Okay.
But for this one, just getting the name Final Fan TV in front of Square Enix, and in whatever way you feel is the way to do it. But just like, I want them to know that, hey, we got people out there that want, you know, Final Fan TV to provide a review. So that is my number one goal for this year, is to get that review code out for Final Fan TV, or for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Now, I want to make sure I get this right. So I want to bring up my words here. All right. Let me do boom. Okay. Robert?
Hold on. I should, you know, if this is the official statement, I should say, ladies and gentlemen, warrior of hype.
Thank you. Dream goal, and I know that this is a dream goal, but I started Final Fan TV because of Kinda Funny. I watch their content every day, and I am inspired by them. I've had the opportunity of actually meeting Tim Geddes 2 times, once at E3 2019 and another time at this year's Summer Game Fest Playdays. I would love for this message to reach Tim and the rest of the Kinda Funny crew. My dream goal for the upcoming year is to be a guest on the Kinda Funny Gamescast for the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth review. Tim Geddes, the master of hype, and me, the warrior of hype, talking about Final Fantasy would just be epic. I'm hoping that my portfolio of content here that I make on Final Fan TV can prove me worthy of such an opportunity. I've conducted interviews with the series creator, Hironobu Sakaguchi, and many talented Final Fantasy voice actors. I was recognized for my passion for Final Fantasy by Square Enix themselves and invited to attend the Final Fantasy XVI pre-launch celebration in LA. Being on Kinda Funny would be right up there right alongside those incredible experiences and achievements. That's how high I hold Kind of Funny. So Tim and the Kind of Funny crew, if you are listening to this, I want to say thank you. And I want to say thank you for your time and consideration. That is my dream goal, Robert. That would be a dream goal. Now, I feel like it is reaching. It is reaching. Kind of Funny is big, man. They're I don't know, man. I just really respect them. I watch their content every single day, and to be on that podcast would be just incredible, man. So that's it, guys. So if whoever's watching this video, if you want to know what you can do to help out, man, just let Kind of Funny know that you want Final Fantasy TV on that review. So
let's slip the dogs of war. Let's make this happen.
Yeah, that would be freaking phenomenal, man. I don't even know how I would. Like, I had thought about not saying it. I thought about like, it's too far-fetched of a dream to put out there, but maybe it happens, man. That's the thing. Maybe it happens. So if it does, that would be amazing. So everybody in chat, if you're a Kind of Funny best friend and you watch their content, I would really appreciate it. If you want me on that review, then let them know. If you don't, that's fine. Don't let them know. That's fine. I mean, yeah, just do what you want.
We love him, but we need to keep him in the closet. Don't let him be known.
Don't let him be known. Yeah, so that's my dream goal there, Robert. Now I can get into some Ask Me Anything. If you guys want to do some Q&A, let's start with Final Fantasy VII music. FF7 music. FFVII music. Says top 3 musical scores for Final Fantasy. It says scores because instead of OSTs, because some games have multiple OSTs. I'm going to answer these kind of rapid fire, right? So first one, the original Final Fantasy VII is my top favorite. Original 7 OST. I feel like it's cheating to say number 2 Final Fantasy VII Remake. So I'm going to combine those. Final Fantasy VII original OST, and then the Final Fantasy VII Remake in that order. Number 1 though. Number 2, Final Fantasy VIII. I think it's such a fantastic soundtrack. I love that one. And then for 3, I'm tossed up here. Final Fantasy X or Final Fantasy I Pixel Remaster.
Really? Ooh,
yeah.
I didn't see that coming.
Yeah, right. That's throw a hook in there, man.
So let's tease this apart a second.
Okay.
So for 7 OG versus Remaster, name 1 or 2 tracks that Remaster did better, in particular, than the original. Like maybe gave you a new sense, and vice versa.
Okay, oh, that's cool. I like that one. So number 1, Chaos. The Chaos battle, the final battle, I think it's what it's called, or it's the decisive. No, I think it's just called the final battle. That one, when you're fighting Chaos, was insanely epic. And I'm like, obviously on the NES, they did what they could.
Sure. Yeah.
But man, when I was playing that Pixel Remaster, I went out and just listened to the OST, and I just keep listening to it. I love that because that's where it all originated, man. Like all of those motifs, all of those just the sound of Final Fantasy, it originates from Final Fantasy 1, and to hear it remastered with the vision that Uematsu had but wasn't able to really achieve, I think I just love it. I love going back. The Prelude is probably another one I would mention. You said 2. Just hearing the Prelude for Final Fantasy 1 Pixel Remaster. Yeah, so even the fight, the battle, everything in that game, the Pixel Remaster is so good. The OST for that. So, what is your favorite musical theme or song from Final Fantasy? From each Final Fantasy, which is. I'm gonna do 5. I'm gonna do 5, and this is not even like, these are just like what immediately came to my mind. I can't possibly rank them. I couldn't possibly go through every single soundtrack and find the number 1. Not yet. That deserves more attention. So I'm just going to name some that come to mind. To Xanarkin, Final Fantasy X. One of my favorite songs of all time. I love that song. And, you know, I love Aerith's theme. I love One Winged Angel. But Cosmo Canyon, just for the sake of this. Cosmo Canyon from Final Fantasy VII. Find the Flame, Final Fantasy XVI. Terra's theme, Final Fantasy VI. And Crystalline Chill from Final Fantasy 15. Have you ever crystalline and chill before, Robert? If you know what I'm saying. Do you know what I'm saying, Robert?
Are you coming on to me?
Let me put on some crystalline chill for you. Let me put on some crystalline chill for you. Okay. Oh wait, no, I'll get hit with the copyright probably. I don't know. But anyways.
The stupid problems we have to deal with. Go play the death scene of Aerith. Oh wait. Pepsi
some dude trying to claim the Aerith's theme. Yeah, dude. I like me some crystalline and chill. So King Valvados says, "What are your plans?"
Never gets tired of how awesome his name is.
Oh, King Valvados is awesome. Got to hang out.
I mean, he's awesome too. Don't get me wrong, but just
the name.
Sober cat. Just yes. It's great. I want to be your loser knight, King Valvados. Just because your name is just such an awesome, unique reference,
dude. It was like way past midnight, way into the AM. We're working on the, I think it was what Sid was talking about, the Final Fantasy XVI charity event. Or that's charity. It was fundraiser. But Final Fantasy XVI fundraiser, and we were working on the taboo words. You guys don't even realize how much time that takes. Like, you would think, oh, that's easy. You come up with a word, and then 5 words that you can't say to get them to guess the word. That should be super easy. Nah. It took a long time, and we were going into way into the AM, and King Valvados was there to help me, alongside Lee, which awesome from the Chase Summers projects. So me and Lee are working on this. King Valvados is there. He goes in the back. I'm like, is he lifting weights right now? Like, you can hear chains in the background, and then like, he comes back, and I'm like, were you lifting weights? He's like, you freaking nerds. You guys are still working on this, you freaking nerds. It was great. As an inside joke. He didn't mean anything by it. But like, yeah, so what are your plans for the channel moving forward? Definitely going to talk about that, or I already talked about that. So the plans moving forward right now, just focus on Final Fantasy VII Rebirth content and bring in the hype for that. Hopefully, like I said, receive that early review code. And let's see, do you have any ideas for new content or new strategies for growth? That's a good question. That's a good question, man. So sticking with Final Fantasy VII related content certainly helps the growth, Robert. You know what I mean? Like, Final Fantasy VII is a ticket. People love that stuff. I love it, so it works out. You know what I mean? It works out for me because I love Final Fantasy VII, so I get to keep doing that. And then after Final Fantasy VII Rebirth launches, that's when things are gonna. I should have a plan, but I'm really like,
it's gonna get disc 3 crazy.
Huh?
Is that when things get disc 3 crazy?
Yeah, it'll definitely be part 3. It'll definitely be Final Fantasy XVI DLC. It'll definitely be just things like that. But yeah, it's definitely going to be maybe Final Fantasy IX remake, that rumored remake that's coming out. Hopefully that's going to be tying us over. But things are going to be dry, like, in my mind right now, looking ahead. And I wonder if this is how Square Enix feels. I wonder if Square Enix is like, oh man, after Rebirth, we better have a plan to keep this excitement going. You know?
So I can't claim to know numbers. You know, that's a world that's a very ironic thing for a guy with a PhD in physics to say. But anyway, I can't claim to know numbers for YouTube, is perhaps what I should say. But I feel like this is something that can be countered in advance. In that, I feel like, okay, just pitching ideas for you here. One, I think a low-hanging fruit you can do as a kind of, I'm going to say, filler. I don't mean that in a negative way, but like, look, your time's finite. A lot of time to do the research, etc. Like accessing the panoply of other FF games.
Yes.
Even if it's just you one-on-one with pick your favorite guy in the chat, to say like, you know what, let's have a party and talk about the awesomeness of FF Tactics or FF8 or whatever it is your cup of tea. something that requires very little prep, and I would like to think that that's still going to garner X amount of support from the hardcore FF fan base. That they're like, yeah, I'm always down for another discussion about what is the moral arc difference between Delita and Ramza and FFT, and what is the wider implication that the story is trying to tell us, et cetera, whatever it is you're going for. I feel like that's something you can do off the cuff that maybe can help bridge that gap.
It sounds like something I would love to do with you having you on the show. Like I feel
I
like,
would certainly love to. But
yeah, I feel like you would bring you. Oh man, that would be a great conversation. Yeah, so stuff like that, like being able to revisit the old Final Fantasies is something I've always thought about. I really, really want to do a playthrough of the entire franchise, or the entire series, mainline. So starting from 1, huh? Yeah. Oh, it's a lot. And like just starting from 1 and then doing a review and ranked. So as you play 1, and then the second one, obviously 1 is going to be number 1 until you play 2nd. Where's that rank? Play 3rd. Where's that rank? And just kind of keep on going immediately after playing them, rank them. And I would love to do that. I'd love to talk about them as we play them. So yeah, that might be something I want to do. I love your idea of really kind of diving into them. Maybe even doing some top 10s. Maybe even doing like, but I don't want to take that from Union. Final Fantasy Union does an amazing job.
But everyone does that.
Yeah.
Though. Like, I mean, I don't think it's anyone's in particular.
Yeah. I like to keep things
as
unique as possible. You know what I mean?
Well, then on that basis, I'm going to pitch this, because I pitched this to Ultima Final Fantasy, that they got this from me, and it was one of their best episodes in my personal opinion, and I'm going to pitch it to you. I think a really fun format is to do the Emmys or Grammys, however you want to say it, of the series.
Oh, yeah.
So you go through and make the categories of, like, best XYZ, and you can make it a big thing with everyone in the community for, all right, we're going to give 5 nominees, everyone's going to vote, and there's the public choice, and people can vote in that in the community, but the Warrior of Hype is going to give his opinion for winner of the best dramatic scene, however you want to define that, etc.
Best dress.
Yeah, sure. Hey,
why not? Works, but no, I love where you're going with that, and that could even add that to the in review stuff. Like to add that to replaying every Final Fantasy, like Final Fantasy I. Let's go to the awards section of this video. That would be really cool. And then King Valvidos, I really appreciate this question. It says, how can we help? That's a really cool question, man. Thank you for that.
Spot on. Good man.
Yeah. So, like I said, definitely need your help, especially if we're going to be able to do these goals. The first
we
goal,
need to be torturing kind of funny.
No,
don't
torture them. Do not torture them, but still, like, maybe hopefully when I'm going to probably clip that out, and then I'll share it on Twitter and then tag everybody from Kind of Funny, and hopefully it gets their attention. And that would be cool if you just like it or retweet it and stuff. So yeah, and the absolute best way you can support is over on coffee.com/FinalFanTV and patreon.com/FinalFanTV, like Robert Mold over here is doing. Thank you for that, man. So Vincent,
I get to enjoy the content.
Man, well, you're helping out. I don't have it on today, but I was able to get my DSLR camera working, and I got that when I was in Full Sail. So got that, and I was like, oh snap, I can hook that up to my computer and use it as a webcam. And if you watch the latest video, let's see if you can see the quality of the video looks a little bit better, maybe.
Get into the nitty-gritty details of gameplay.
I don't know. Like, you can see that it blurs the background. It kind of keeps it colors it. It's not blown out like my face. Look at my face. Look at this. I'm just like a big glare.
I can't see your face. I'm staring into the yellow hat. So don't worry about it. The yellow hat draws in everything in this. You may have all this cool FF stuff in the background and an awesome T-shirt, but I'm just looking at the yellow hat.
Hell yeah. So like, I have I wore this outfit just because I wanted to show off that my DSLR camera doesn't get like this. It's not this big bright sun on my head now. I can wear this yellow hat and it's not as bad. But all right, so so being a Patreon supporter and helping out that way, I was able to get the DSLR camera to work, so that helps out a lot. And just like little things like buying these lights. Like I bought a light, so whenever I do decide I want to stream, I can have cool lights and stuff going on. Look all LED and official.gov, you know what I mean?
You are pretty official. I mean, you've interviewed the Gooch. I mean,
I've interviewed the
voice
Gooch,
actors
baby.
come to you. I mean, you're pretty establishment at this point. I mean,
All right, so we got so that's how you can help. Vincent Graymore says, how should Final Fantasy XVII play, feel, and be? Good God, what a question.
Damn.
What a question.
Wow.
So here's what I'm going to do for this question. I'm going to defer it over to Robert Molt because I already have a video in the works.
Oh,
yeah.
Beautiful punt. Beautiful punt.
Boom. Thank you.
Okay. So my answer would be the following.
Okay.
1, embrace and respect change. So whatever it is that I say, brew with one of them in at least some way, because you know what? The franchise evolves, aren't always going to be the same. I want the franchise to keep going, and I accept that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my starting point, just as a statement of being open-minded.
Love that.
I state my first real statement, so to speak, after that. Party. I want a party. To me, it's a very big deal that I want to have some degree of characters whom I customize either in combat or even if it's just in a, sewn-on type way. But, I think a really key aspect of this franchise is to have the team aspect, and that complexity brings so much.
Yeah.
Personally, am not as much a fan of the more single-player aspect of 16. Against it, because again, I have a lot of respect that they should try different things in the franchise. I'm not going to hold it against them. Sometimes they've had what I might call a misstep. That I could tell you which number I think was a misstep. But hey, you know what? Let's go for it. I don't know what it means to continue for the wider world. The series cannot just be what I want, being a nerd who played FF1 on the NES.
Yeah.
Right? My perspective is limited. So, I'm open-minded that, hey, let's see what works overall. I would say, I think that the complexity of the gameplay is kind of what separates FF from you want to do, like, Call of Duty. I'm not trying to cast shade on that, but it's a very different mentality for I'm going to optimize this party to be the best it can be. I'm going to train it. I'm going to explore all the different ways. I could have heavy magic or, blah, blah, blah. I think the party dynamic is part of what makes things rich.
Yeah.
2, story comes first over graphics. Might be a little contentious, but you know what? The characters in the script have to resonate. Whoever the writers are for the better written games, whatever they want. I think script writers are the most important aspect of this.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not a popular view in terms of what sells in the short run, but in terms of you want the FF franchise to last, Dynasty, you better believe I want Dynasty for Final Fantasy. Okay.
I want to ask you a question about that, and then maybe we can move on.
Sure.
But I want to ask you about that story because I have an idea in my mind, and I freaking love it. But I'm going to save it for the video. I'm going to save it for the video. But I want to know, when it comes to the story, what are you looking for, man? Are you looking for... Because Final Fantasy XVI set the tone of this mature story, which I loved. I love this. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is kind of, getting that line, straddling that line between very serious, very comical, Red 13 Redding, Chocobo, great stuff. They freaking did it. They brought in the Moogle, the big stuff Moogle for Kate Sith. But also very serious. Where are you looking? What's your theme? What's your vision of what the story and the setting, I guess, is what I'm. What is the setting of 17 in a brief here's the pitch.
2 points. 1, I would argue that so I feel like there's 2 aspects of what you asked. One is the setting in terms of like medieval and technology, kind of like the classic discussion. Do we want like 1 through 6? But then a second part is asking, what do you want in terms of seriousness?
Yeah.
So I guess are those the two? Are those both things you're asking, or?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Like, so just overall, like, so if the setting is very dark, is it still going to be a dark story, or are you gonna like straddle the line type thing?
I don't like when things are dark. By which I mean to say, feel like when things are, people say like it's gonna be darker.
We must go darker.
Right. To me, I feel like, okay, I'm really worried that what you're doing is sacrificing good writing for, if we just make this as dark as possible, that makes it cool.
Yeah.
And like, that doesn't follow. FF7 is dark when it needs to be. It's light when it needs to be too. So like, to me, things don't need to be dark for their own sake.
Okay.
And I think that that's a fallacy. And then in terms of the fictional universe, I'm really flexible on that. Like, I get the love for the medieval type setting. I'm always going to love that because, hey, I began with 1. What can I say? But I feel that's really secondary to telling a good story and having a lot of characterization. Like, to me, a big issue is that when people make things gritty, sometimes they sacrifice, look, I want characters that have real relationships. Also, I think if you're too gritty, you're like, can't be any goodness in people because that's going to show we're pansies and we need to show the darkness. No. What really draws me to life is the light.
Yeah.
Like, I have a long speech I could give about why I love FF7. For me, it's the light that's in it amidst the darkness. And so, give the characters goodness, make them be people for whom we root and that they have relationships.
Yeah.
So, to me, like, I can live with any setting personally. I don't think that's what defines it as much as the stories and the character. And don't make it dark just to be dark.
Yeah.
Just because Game of Thrones did it.
I mean, yeah, I definitely see what you're saying. I see where you're going with that. All right, so you definitely like the like as Sid says, contrast is important.
Yes.
Although I will say, I do want to make this from my opinion. I think that Final Fantasy XVI did a good job of bringing that light in. Like I think 16, like on the surface level, when you get to the first like half of the game, it is very dark. It is very gritty. But I think Clive is one of the most like compassionate characters. I mean, he's definitely the most most thankful.
Yes.
Thank you. All right. But no, like he
sorry.
He sure does. He says thank you a lot. I had a super cut of thank yous. Thank you. But no, he's I think Clive is one of the most compassionate characters. I love the story between Clive and Jill. I think they did a great job of bringing in that light. But I do know what you're saying about like that contrast. I think Final Fantasy VII Remake is like the example of what that contrast looks like. Like where you can have fun with it. You
100%.
you can have fun with it even if it doesn't really truly make that much sense. Like with Final Fantasy 16, I do kind of want to throw that out there. I also think that the DLC, like I'm really, really interested and really curious and excited for what the Final Fantasy 16 DLC looks like. Because if there's one thing about Creative Business Unit 3 that I've come to learn is that they listen. They really do listen, and they listen to that feedback. And I think if they're listening to the feedback, I would love for them, their DLC to, and I'm going to make a video on this as well, so I won't get into it too far. But like, basically, I'd love for them to be able to listen to that feedback, provide a mini game, to provide, maybe, and this is stretching it, maybe being able to switch party member, like the switch, let you play as Jill, let you play just like 15 did. I think it'll just be just like 15 to kind of like write some of the things that the fans were like, hey, I don't like, I didn't like this, and maybe bring that in. So Let's see.
I feel like part of what makes some of the FF's game very successful is that the panoply characters is such that they have relationships with each other in such a way that you can find levity and light in different ways with one another. And to me, I feel like 16 suffers a little bit in that for the first half of the game, roughly, they're not. It's very plot driven and not character driven, and I think that to me personally, and I think that finding the light in characters for that, everyone has good and evil. That's good, right? I mean, I think, for example, in the case of Remake, Barrett is great, and Barrett's got a dark side.
Yeah,
going too far. Cloud, to me, one of my favorite scenes in Remake is the moment where Tifa says to Cloud out in Chapter 3 after you rescue Johnny,
like
you're scaring
me. Yeah.
I mean, I like, Tifa lacks resolve in some ways. Barrett doesn't. Finding that light and darkness in each, and that, Cloud and Tifa have a certain lightness with each other. Barrett and Cloud have a certain lightness in each other, and they have a certain darkness when you put them together too.
Yeah.
I think that multiple character aspect enriches these things so much, and that's what I really think is what's going to help getting a large number of people, that you'll find the people that resonate with you. Whether your party was Barrett and Nanaki, Eris and Tifa, something for you.
Yeah. Oh man, I love that. Love that answer, and I think. Okay, so short answer for you, Vincent Graymore, for myself, because I am making that video, but I would say let CBU3 continue to cook, let them use the same engine, let them build off of what they've already established, but implement these new things, like the things that people were missing, the people that people wanted. I'd say take inspiration from Rebirth and the FF7R trilogy. I'd say take that inspiration, bring it in, and I think that's what I would want Final Fantasy 17 to feel be. But please watch my video. Please be excited, because that video, I have an idea in my mind, and I'm just like, I really like this idea, Robert, and I'd like to see that.
Let me ask you a follow up, if I may, if this doesn't tread on your video.
Okay.
My wife's answer to this would be, she would say, I want to play Rebirth 2. I want that I'm playing as one of your people in party, and in real time you're playing as you. In other words, actually try to do multiplayer. I don't know if the technology is there for given the
Final
speed
Fantasy
and
14.
graphics.
No, I'm just kidding. No, it's not.
That's basically what she's asking.
Yeah, but it's not. It's not the same.
Doable in a 17 type of
Yeah, exactly. It's definitely not the same. But I think, man, please, Jesus, please, this would be the best thing ever. I've been preaching it since King Valvados was on the show. Give me the gold saucer with my friends, man. If you give me a multiplayer hub, like within Rebirth, where I can just hang out with my friends and play mini games with each other, like say that me, you, and a couple other people get in the Chocobo race and we're racing together. Like, yeah, setting high scores, and that it's going to be fun because it's classic Final Fantasy mini game style. But imagine if we're playing with friends. It would continue on. Like, people would still be playing Rebirth long after they beat it, which I think that should be the goal. And then it would recapture that feeling of the gold saucer. I'm just saying, man, they got all the mini games. It's all there, and I really love that. Single player is great. I'm going to be happy with it. But they could go one step beyond. Imagine the freaking battle arena, and this goes off of what your wife is saying. Instead of having it story-based where everybody, because that's hard to do, but in the battle arena, everybody is controlling a certain character, and we all have to keep an eye on our ATB.
Man,
we all have to
strategize
on I have this materia equipped. You have this one. I'm the healer. I need to be on it using my ATB.
Oh, that's great.
It's freaking good strategy, man. I just want them to do it.
Let's have you get a team of 9 people. We all got to defeat. Diamond weapon or whatever.
Oh man, I'm so passionate about this one, dude. I really want them to make a multiplayer option. They're so good. What's the most memorable moment in making your videos? Vincent Graymore says. I would say the viral video. the PS1 camera, and the Hironobu Sakaguchi interview, of course. Those are most memorable moments making videos. So actually making them, not outside of videos. So the Sakaguchi-san just really freaking takes the cake. You know what I mean? That's it. Most memorable moment. At Sing 4D Laughter, where you can hear some amazing Final Fantasy lo-fi music, asks, what was the greatest moment you have experienced as the warrior of hype in 2023? And that is where I would say attending the Final Fantasy XVI launch event and the Summer Game Fest Playdays. And then in chat, I saw a question and I think I skipped over it. Sorry about that. Let's see. Okay, I thought I saw one. My bad. Oh, yeah. What is the idea of the video that is coming? Oh, it would be for Final Fantasy XVII. Some thoughts on that. Okay, cool. So that was Sing 4D Laughter. Sing 4D Laughter has another one. What was your favorite part of Final Fantasy XVI? My answer is the iconic battles, the icon battles. Freaking fantastic. And once again, kind of goes off of what Final Fantasy XVII can do. In fact, it can kind of go off of what Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 3 can do. The scale of those battles, the cinematic epicness of those battles, it.
The weapons?
For the weapons.
Ooh.
Yes, Robert. I'm just saying, man. Can you imagine? And somebody else asked this question later, so I'm going to answer it now, and then I'll say, hey, I answered it earlier. Can you imagine? People ask me, they say, warrior of hype. How are they going to handle the high wind? And I say to them, yo, what if you're battling ultimate weapon, piloting the high wind? So you are free.
I'm sold.
We know it has missiles because it's Sid's limit break comes in with the missiles.
Yes.
So we know it has an arsenal. It's battle ready, and you're freaking piloting it above the world map that has been created, and you're just going above, and you're just, instead of chasing it around, get into a battle, chase it to the next part, get into a battle, now you're going around the entire world battling this freaking weapon. In the pilots, you're piloting the high wind while you do it, and you just make it basically like a Ace Combat dogfight as you're fighting it. Dude, that's what you can do with the high wind. That's what you can do with the high wind.
Your HP is measured in teacups because Sid is piloting.
Yeah. Yes. Oh man. So like, I mean, and then you go from there, because obviously, yeah, man, we got the like we got fast travel now. So why do we really need the high wind? Well, because of that. And then you just build off of that mechanic that you build up, the whole flying mechanic, and you make some mini games. You make that a mini game. You make that, like, you make it so people want to fly the high wind rather than fast travel. So that's man, it's so good. It's so good, Daniel. Warrior of hype. It's so good, right? Like, I came up with it. Man, I just give myself a high five on that one. It's good stuff. So let's see. What was your most excited thing? Got that done. If Katase asked you to pick one thing to change from Rebirth's story regarding OG, what would you change? That's coming from Sing 4D Laughter. Follow up from from another great supporter, the YouTube member, No Way. No Way says, if you could change one story element in Final Fantasy VII OG, what would it be and why? So same questions, kind of combine them. I'm going to stick with the segment of the OG leading up to the Forgotten Capital. This kind of answers a question regarding Rebirth. If there was one thing from the original that I want to see them change, I'm going to ask you the same question, Robert. So get your answer ready.
That's good, because I literally had written down for my questions for next week.
Oh, really?
This question of, well, a slightly different version. But anyway, I'll shut up. Continue.
Oh, no, you're good. Okay. So for me, I would say it's Kate's sacrifice at the Temple of Ancients. Like,
how do you want to change it?
I'd just remove it. Just.
It has no dramatic meaning.
No, it doesn't have anything. So like, I would get rid of that, because it just it's not an iconic moment for me. Like, it's not one of those things where I'm like, oh my god, you better not touch this, that's sacred. Like, freaking Kate Sith better be riding that Moogle, you know what I mean? Like, I was adamant. I was like, dude, you better like keep some things intact. But the sacrifice at the Temple of the Ancients, it's just, I don't really care. If they get rid of that, I'd be probably happy. If they keep it, I'd be like, why though? like why?
Yeah, it has no dramatic weight because it's an animatronic brought to life magically by Reeves' magical abilities. Anyway, long, complicated stuff.
Yeah. So what about you?
So actually relates to what something I was gonna throw at you last week, which is obviously we love FF7, but like anything else that I love, I can admit weakness.
Mm-hmm.
There are some things in the game that I don't know that they work, and I don't know how they're gonna handle in Rebirth. And like I think two good examples are, okay, when Kate Sith, since apparently that's the proper pronunciation officially. When Kate Sith betrays you,
I think it's Sith. I think it is Sith. I don't know. I feel like
Sith.
Yeah, I think
cat.
The cat, whatever, dude. I'm gonna correct you, man. No, all right, go
that's fine. I don't care, dude. Fine, I'm just gonna go back to my PS1 days and say Kate Sith.
That sounds good.
When Kate Sith betrays you, Cloud doesn't immediately chop off its head.
Okay.
He further goes on to say, "Oh, and I've got Marlene hostage." Oh, it's hard for me. Like, it was just a somewhat more juvenile environment for how the video game was presented. We kind of just pressed the "I believe" button and said whatever, and like it was stupid.
Okay.
Something that I feel like they're gonna have to rewrite that in some way for that to not that the impulse isn't chop off its head and then oh my god you have Marlene and now we're gonna be blackmailed. I don't think so.
Yeah.
Or two, when Yuffie steals your materia, it's gonna forgive her and like they're gonna have to change that.
That's gonna be very interesting because like I had been talking about that for quite a while now, leading up to the debate on whether or not Wu Tai was going to be in Rebirth. Now we know it's been confirmed that it won't be. So the confirmation of it not being in the game means that Yuffie's going to steal the party's materia after the Forgotten Capital. And I'm like, it kind of has me, now I'm a little bit, like, really though? Like, I'm kind of trying to figure out whether that means anything as far as will she die, will she not die type thing, like Aerith. And it's just kind of like, if she does die, man, that's pretty messed up. To like this party has just experienced a death in the family, and you're gonna steal their materia? Like, get out of here! Like, that's mean. Like, like I don't know about that, Yuffie. Like, I don't know about that.
I would guess that they're gonna have to write both of those aspects of the original out, and I'm okay with that because I don't think they work that well.
Yeah.
One thing that I guess I would want.
Yeah, I still want
to write in is Sid. I feel like Sid is a situation where, and depending upon how that's presented, that could be great in terms of looking vaguely like domestic abuse. Well, this is my proposed rewrite for how to do Sid.
Okay.
Sid loves Shara very much, but Sid is a problem. Sid has an addiction, and when he doesn't get his tea, that's when he gets really, oh my god, where's my goddamn tea? And as soon as he has it, he's very fine. He should be like over the top loving to Shara. So that's one way to take it. The other way is the Mac and abridged way of presenting Sid and Shara, which I still think is awesome beyond measure. If you have not watched FF7 Mac and abridged, do it. It's the greatest thing in the world. That's all I can possibly say. But I think because we all want Sid and his tea fixation. I think you need to find it such that we still get the angry Sid that if he doesn't get his tea, you got to write that in a way that it doesn't look suboptimal.
I'm on the opposite end. So
go for it.
For me, when it comes to Sid, and this is like a whole topic for like a whole podcast about him. But for me, I'm on the opposite end. I think they need to lean in. That's what I want to see. But when it comes to Final Fantasy VII and like the teen rating and like the kind of vibe they're going for, I really hope, because there's going to be Rebirth, if we know the original, Rebirth is going to be some pretty heavy stuff, right? Like we're going to get into some really, really heavy stuff in this. I want them so badly to lean into that really hard. Just like in Final Fantasy XVI, they really allowed for those characters to really have emotions. Like Final Fantasy XVI was a very emotional journey for those characters. Like Ben Starr absolutely killing that, like those performances of like just tears, you know, all that stuff. And I think I want Rebirth to have those heavy moments. Now when Rebirth remake, one of my critiques about remake was the fact that they just did not allow for that. They did with Barrett, like when Platefall happened, right?
Yes.
Man, I had to look away. I had to look away, man. I couldn't bear it.
So I love you, man. I love you. I love you. So I'm with you that I would like that way of going with Sid too. I think that's fine. I guess in my mind, the key is you've got to have light to offset the darkness. You know, like that's why I say like the love for Shara has to be there in some way, or like there has to be some greater for which he's sacrificing. Like he can't just be a jackass. Which, if somebody just interpreted the original as he's a jackass, I can't really argue with you per se there. So like,
I feel like they can really write this character really good if they do it. Like they gotta go for it. Because don't shy away from these things, man. I think that's a really big character arc for Sid. Like. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be hard to watch him be really, you know, a not very good person to Shara. Like that's going to suck. But I feel like for the character arc, when he does come around, it's going to be very impactful. But like I said,
that'd be great too.
Yeah, like maybe even quiet moments when no one's around. Or like when nobody, like then you can see like, oh, he really does still have these feelings. And I think the original did that, man. Like the original did do a good job of expressing that Sid did care for her.
I agree.
But yeah, so I think they can really improve that, and I can't wait. I really want to do that as a separate conversation. Like I want to make that, because Sid, that's gonna be a separate conversation for sure. All right, so I'm gonna kind of go through these like almost rapid fire, because I do want to jump off in about 15 minutes. So here we go.
Yes, sir.
Everybody watching right now, 15 minutes. So stick with us. Let's get this going. All right, so we got the one from No Way. MJ Gallagher.
Oh my gosh,
MJ Gallagher writes in, says, other than me, and maybe Sakaguchi-san, who is the best guest you've had on the show? Man, maybe Sakaguchi. I mean, maybe. Other than Mo, though, like, I mean, come on. You know what I mean? Wait, how can I answer that question when you've excluded Mo? You've excluded Mo from the. I can't do it. But I can't. I really can't answer that question, because I love speaking with, like I said so many times throughout the show, I love speaking with those directly involved with Final Fantasy, and that bring Final Fantasy to us. But yeah, so really cool stuff there. So I'm not gonna narrow it down to my favorite. My favorite is Sakaguchi. Yeah, I mean, like, let's just be real. Like that's a real thing. So Drakey C has a list of questions for us. So we're gonna kind of do this quickly. You ready for this? Rapid fire, Rob. You're gonna join me for this.
I'm holding on. I can maintain the course. Let's go.
Here we go. This one's for you.
For me?
This one's for you.
Oh, okay, sure.
I don't know if I have an answer, so this one's for you.
Okay, all right, sounds good.
What is a Final Fantasy character and or game that you think deserves more recognition?
4 would be my immediate answer. I think 4 has endearing relationships among the characters, gameplay, I'm very big FF4 fan.
I love that answer because that was also kind of my answer, but then I was like, it's so hard to say like which one deserves more recognition because I feel like every Final Fantasy kind of has, it's like every Final Fantasy kind of has this fan base that's like, I support this game, I love it. I do not see as much for, so I agree with that. I do agree with that. I think Final Fantasy
like 6, 7, and 10 are kind of the kings.
Yeah.
So like I feel like it's fair to say something else, and like FF4 is one of the kings.
Yeah, I think. Oh, dude, I agree. Final Fantasy IV is in my top 5. So when it comes to if this was about a year ago, I would say Final Fantasy VIII. But with Ben Starr being such an advocate of Final Fantasy VIII, and like all of us, I've seen this influx of Final Fantasy VIII fans. Like people want. Remake, people talk about the junction system, people talking about like Final Fantasy VIII getting the Echo S8 from Sunamods, you know, fully voiced. I feel like Final Fantasy VIII is getting the love now, but that would have been my answer about a year ago, but now it's getting that love. What is a character that what's a character you hate that everyone else loves, or vice versa? I didn't know how to, huh?
I didn't know if this was me or you.
These are questions for me, man, but I can't like. I'm going to defer. What about you?
Yeah, but the people don't want me. They want you.
Maybe like
to be honest with ourselves here.
Once you give me an answer,
you're going to answer the hard question whether you like it or not. Okay, I'm taking control of this, and you're going to answer the question. Okay, give us your best.
Okay,
quick answer. You
all
got
right,
this.
I'm sure because like I don't who hates Final Fantasy character. Like what's a character that give me a character
who's a character who is not appreciated for who he or she is. For whom you would want. So just don't make it less extreme, and it's understandable.
Bro, it's so tough. I mean, people don't hate Prompto. Love Prompto, man. Prompto's awesome. People don't hate Ignis. Like the boys, man. The Choco Bros, man. I love them.
Yeah.
But I don't know if anybody.
That's okay. They're just make it underappreciated instead of hated.
Yeah, let's go underappreciated. I love the boys in Final Fantasy 15. I'm gonna go with that one. And then for vice versa, what's a character? Do people hate Waka? Because I feel like Waka gets some hate sometimes. I liked Waka.
I mean, I think it depends upon the maturity of a person, and that you can either look at. I mean, I would say that look, Waka is a flawed character.
Mm-hmm.
Like. Real people are flawed people, and he does have growth. It's annoying, and he may not be who you want him to be, but everyone's awful in some regard.
Exactly.
And
like, that's a real
the point
person.
Is you grow.
It's a real person. It's not who you want him to be. But like, listen,
I have family members who are Waka. And you know what? I just hope they're going to change over time, but I don't dismiss them as people.
There you go, man. Exactly. That's what you said it better than I possibly could. That was my answer was Waka. That I actually like Waka a lot. I think his message and theme and character arc in that game is good.
It's easy to hate.
Yeah.
Don't fall for it. Don't hate too easily. Even if someone quote unquote deserves it, don't.
Block Sheep says Jekt. Okay.
Good answer.
Ben has empowered the Final Fantasy VIII fans. Sid says, I would be so on board if they remake Final Fantasy VIII and then get Ben Starr to play Lugana. Freaking do it. Freaking do it, cowards. Just do it. Bring him back. I want Ben Starr.
You're cowards if you don't.
I want Ben Starr in every Final Fantasy, dude. Like, that guy is such an advocate for Final Fantasy. Like, get him in there. Who cares if he was the main character of a game? Don't say... Yeah, just let him keep playing. Let him keep playing Final Fantasy. All right, so... Favorite moment or scene in a Final Fantasy? I will go... It used to be... Well... I don't know, man. Sephiroth walking through the fire is always going to be my number one moment of all time.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
It's a good choice.
Also, the ending of Final Fantasy 15. The ending of Final Fantasy 15 made me cry. It still makes me cry every time I watch it, every single time. And I mean, like that is some good stuff, man. That is some good stuff. I love the ending of 15. You have a quick answer?
I'm going to punt to for next week because I would talk too long.
Okay.
How's that?
Okay. Like it. Okay. Yeah. For those who don't know, Robert Moat will be joining us again next week for our
FF7 remake lore and rebirth lore.
Ooh. It's gonna be another hype cast. All right, so your thoughts on remakes or other Final Fantasy titles more akin to Final Fantasy IV DS and or the Final Fantasy VII remake than the pixel remasters. So I'm trying to. I think what I'm reading here, like the 3D remakes of 3 and 4, and Final Fantasy VII remake, than the pixel remaster. So would you rather have them? So I guess Drakey C is asking, instead of like an HD 2D remaster of I don't know, Mystic Quest. I'm just gonna go something crazy. Instead of that, would you rather have that 3D version of the Final Fantasy IV DS? Yes. Now let me tell you, even with the pixel remasters, and I love the pixel remasters. Okay, I'm a fan. I love them. I can appreciate them. But when it comes to playing Final Fantasy IV, I look at it and I'm like, this looks beautiful. The OST is freaking fantastic. But I kind of want to play it with the 3D. I kind of want to play that fully voice-acted Final Fantasy IV. And if there's a mod out there, maybe there is, I will download the mod, hopefully, for a Final Fantasy IV Pixel Remaster OST over my 3D, and I'll play it with 3D. I love the 3D remakes. That's my answer. I love the 3D remakes. HD 2D or cleaning up the pixels for the Pixel Remaster, great. But I think like a game like Final Fantasy VI has a story that needs to be told to as many people as possible. And in order to do that, make it in the style of remake, like Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Like what you're saying, if we want a big audience,
yeah,
I think we're just going to reach more people that way.
Yeah, like Final Fantasy IV has a story, man, that not many people are getting. Like, people don't get to experience that story because nobody's going to touch a turn-based or an active time battle. But it's like, if you put that with Final Fantasy VII Remake's combat style, and you get the story of Final Fantasy IV, come on, that's amazing. So yeah, I would say 3D remakes and Final Fantasy VII Remake is the way to go. Favorite limit break or signature move? Omni Slash. I mean, like, that's easy answer for me. We'll go to oh, this is an interesting one here. Okay, Drakey C is gonna try to get a little spicy on me here. He says, "Who in Final Fantasy do you simp for?" I demand 2 answers: man and woman. All right. Here I'm a 30-year-old, 30s. I'm in my 30s. All right, so I don't really know exactly what simp means. I'm sorry. I think that's when you. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. I think that means.
Hey, what I'm going to do is take over the conversation to give you enough time to Google that.
Okay, let me
in the
Google
interim
that.
here.
Yeah, let me Google
and,
simp.
I think that this is a good public advisory.
I've heard it a bunch of times.
In the audience.
Heard it a bunch of times. Let me look that up. A silly or foolish person. I mean, that's not right.
Yeah.
Who do I think is a silly or that's the answer. How I'm answering it. A silly or okay. Let me read that one more time. Who in Final Fantasy do you silly or person for? That's what I got. What do you got?
I think.
Do I got an Urban Dictionary
connotation?
Listen
for that.
Listen, I know I've seen it used 1,000 times. I just want to make sure I'm not like, it's like a weird thing. You know what I mean? Men are seen as too attentive or submissive to women. It's a slang insult for men. Is that right? I think
imagine if I said that, like, Scarlet is misunderstood. She's really a good person. She has such redeeming, okay. If I believe that would just be you like blondes with attributes.
Okay.
Right? Like,
with
that would be good.
With attributes.
You find ways to rationalize that which should not be because sex.
Yeah, I got it. You know what I mean? Look, listen, I kind of had a good understanding of what it meant there. You know what I mean? So I got answers. Who do I simp for? Simp. Silly or foolish person. Man and woman, Clive and Jill. That's it. Like, I was like, this is an easy one because Clive and Jill remind me of me and my wife. That's
dude.
dude.
You got to say more.
Oh man, I just love the entire story of Clive and Jill in that game, dude. Like, I said this right after the credits rolled. I was talking to Kudakuma. Shout out to Kudakuma, awesome person. So I just messaged because he's like, I just beat the game too, and I'm like, can we talk? We got to talk. So we're talking about it, and I was just like, I love Clive and Jill in this game because there's nothing standing in the way of their love, right? Like there's a lot of adversity going on. There's a lot of like hardships, and they have to like through their power, like through their love that they have for each other, the compassion they have for each other, they're able to push past all the crap that is happening in their life. And I love that there's no kind of like, oh, but she likes this guy and he likes this girl, like there's all this like different kind of, things that can pull them apart, but nah, man, she just loves Clive and he loves her, and that's all I wanted, man. I was like, this is so good. The way that she looks at him, the way he looks at her, I'm like, this is love. And it reminds me of me and my wife going through all the crap that we have to go through in real. Like I was like, somebody wrote on Twitter one day. I read it. I can't remember who it was that said it. It was such a good one. It stuck in my head. Somebody said, yeah, like Titus and Yuna, that's a love for like high schoolers. Clive and Jill, that's a love for the real adults out here. You know what I mean?
I like that.
Yeah, that's us. Yeah. That's us 30-year-olds out here dealing with all that crap. So yeah, I like Clive and Jill. And then whatever, man. Lightning, Tifa, and Aerith.
Well said. Just slip that in under the radar there. Just minor addendum.
Yeah, with their attributes. Oh God, like Robert said, attributes. I love that. And then Ricky Gamer Pro follows up on YouTube with your favorite female characters. I mean, people want to know, man. So your favorite female characters: Tifa, Aerith, Jill, Yuna, Renoa, and Terra. I don't know. I just named a couple right there. Richard Stoles. Yeah. Okay, Richard Stoles. I think he was in chat earlier, but new Patreon supporter, so thank you so much for that, Richard Stoles. What songs from the original game are you most looking forward to hearing in Rebirth and Part 3? Mine would be Buried in the Snow, Secret of the Deep, or Reunion. So, for me, that was Richard Stoles. For me, Cosmo Canyon in Rebirth, or Sid's theme in Rebirth, if it happens.
Ooh, good choice.
Yeah, because I feel like we're going to see him. I think we're going to see him, but he's not going to be playable or anything like that, so we'll hear his theme. And High Wind Takes to the Skies.
I hope so.
Dude, the freaking Sid's theme that plays when he's going to space, come on.
The Mac abridged version of Sid's theme, in my opinion, is also first rate. I actually like it better than the original, which is high praise.
That's freaking incredible. That's pretty cool. I have to go back and listen to it. I'm gonna have to go back and listen to it. All right, I gotta get through these a little quicker. Toxic Toad 5343. Do you think we'll get another arrangement of One Winged Angel in Rebirth? Absolutely. And I wonder if the subtitle of that song will be the title of Rebirth Part 3 or Remake Part 3. Just like in Remake, it was One Winged Angel Rebirth, wasn't it? So let's see if we get a little hint there. A fun one. Aerith lives, but you have to sacrifice another party member in her place. Who's getting slayed?
Kate Sith.
I
mean, that's not real. It's not really a choice. I mean, that was not like, okay. You do the question again, and he's not an answer choice.
Yeah.
I still think the next answer choice is also pretty obvious. But let's be honest, we were all thinking it. I have no shame in just saying, yes, we're going to kill the bot, pseudo-not robot.
Yeah, we're bringing back the scene at the end of the Temple of the Ancients. There you go. I love how he says this is the fun one. This is the fun question. I don't know. I think Tifa would be a devastating surprise, but it just really depends on how they write these things. Like, if they're going to kill somebody off, which I don't think they should kill anybody off but Aerith. Like, I think Aerith should die. Like, I am very, very... I think Aerith and Zack should die at the end of Rebirth. That's my opinion. And... yeah, it's the way they write. I'm not a writer. So they can write it to make me cry. I'm good with it. So who on your first Rebirth playthrough will you choose to accompany you in the Temple of the Ancients? That goes back to what I said earlier. My original 97.3. Cloud, Barrett, Red 13.
What? Well, but wait, but so the Temple of the Ancients, you have to have Eris in your party, so you have to pick between Barrett and Nanaki.
That's right.
You only get one.
Well, I think I'm going to go with Cloud, Aerith, and Red. I mean,
okay,
I love
Red's
Barrett.
a good choice, but I feel like Barrett, I would love to see the comedic element of, the hell is this MC Escher maze? I just feel like it would be so frustratingly stupid.
Oh my
Why
God.
are we chasing this guy in a hat who can't
Dude.
talk? What is the point of this stupid clock puzzle?
Imagine the terror that he has to witness when he walks in and he goes, "These friggin' stairs, man."
Yes. Oh, good point.
So many stairs again. They come back. His biggest nemesis is back.
Yes.
Yes. Good thing. Yeah, I mean that's good. Maybe he'll still probably be in the. He'll be in the area. He'll be in the vicinity. So Major Trenton. What's up, Major Trenton? We're gonna have him on the show one day. Since Rebirth is ending at the Forgotten Capital, how does Part 3 begin? I say snowboarding is a great way to start. I think it would be plenty of time to process what happens at the end of Rebirth. In case if Aerith does die and it's a very somber ending, and it's not going to be as jarring to go right into snowboarding, baby, because you're gonna have about 3 years in between, and then you'll be like, oh, I can't wait to freaking play Part 3, and then you start the game off by snowboarding down the hill. Come on, that's tight. I like that. Though there's no snowboarding in the Gold Saucer, I still like the idea of Northern Crater getting moved right before the Forgotten Capital. What do you think? I say that I think some things are going to happen in Northern Crater. I don't think the party will visit the Northern Crater. I think it'll be like a cutscene, right? Imagine a cutscene from the Northern Crater of the weapons awakening, right? And that's how Rebirth ends. What a phenomenal cliffhanger, you know what I mean, Robert? That would be like Mass Effect 2 style, where you know how the Reapers are approaching Earth. You get the freaking weapons awakening. Super tight. Prometheac 2641. I wondered if the third game would use the high wind. I answered that question, and it was freaking fantastic. There you go. So I want to kind of come to a close here. I've been talking for about 3 hours here. So, and Robert, thank you so much for joining in.
Honored that you had me come on. I'm honored. Thank you, man. Least I can do to support the show.
Man, you bring in the hype with me, man, and I appreciate it. I hope the journey down memory lane was exciting, or you guys found it interesting. I kind of felt like about a couple hours in, I was like, oh crap, I've been going on this for a while. So hopefully you enjoyed that kind of inside look of my experiences on everything. If you didn't catch that, of course, this will be a video on demand right there on YouTube. And yeah, and also I'm going to clip out the moment where I talk about my goals. I'll put them out on Twitter, and if you want to support, that would be a huge support to kind of just boost that signal as much as you can. I know it's a pretty crazy dream to be on Kind of Funny, so I doubt that will happen, but the Rebirth review code is what I really want to make sure I get that review out on embargo lift. That would be insane. So yeah, thank you so much to everybody that stuck around and watched this and kept active in the chat. I hope you enjoyed. And Robert, thank you once again.
My pleasure, sir.
All right, everybody, take care now.